Do you want to play a game?
Podcast.
They're here.
Welcome to another episode of Blood, Gore, and Ghouls Podcast. I'm your host, Ian Van Gool. Now, if you listened to last week's episode, I did say that this week would be our best of 2023 episode. However, due to some scheduling changes, we've pushed it back. So next week will be our special Christmas holiday episode, and the following week will be our 2023 best of the year episode with Tomoto V3. So today we're going to switch things up a bit. We're going to focus on some true crime tonight. I go over some real life holiday horrors. Now, if you're listening and saying to yourself, oh no, not another solo episode, well, I have good news for you. I brought in an expert today. The man, the myth, the cryptid whisperer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show my good friend Jay from the Project Skeptic Podcast.
Wu-Tang is for the children. We teach the children.
But I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real.
What's up, brother?
That was perfect.
Right?
That was like everything I imagined it would be. Well, what's going on? Yeah, I'm back. Super busy. We try to pump out our episodes in our show, and it's just it's that time. We have this problem every year. You know,
Right,
it's
yeah.
that time of year. So yeah, we're just chugging along, making our dues on our podcast and enjoying Christmas season
Yeah,
for the
sure.
most part.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, I think everyone understands. You know, it's probably the busiest time of year for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah,
Yeah.
trying to even just take an hour out
Yeah.
a week it can be a lot. So
Yep. I've been out there whispering to cryptids too. So
well, yeah,
you know the guy that like talks to the dogs.
Mhm.
You know who I'm talking about? Yeah, that's me, but like with Wendigos and Bigfoot.
right.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, if I can't find you, usually I'll just head towards the woods.
Yeah. That's where I hang
And
out.
we have a
Yeah.
special signal that we won't say on the here.
Yeah. Don't say it because
No.
then everybody will be
Yeah.
around and like looking for me and
Yeah.
stuff, and I'm like, I'm mainly blurry most of the
That's
time
true,
too.
yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
yeah. You
Usually not wearing pants.
know. Yeah, I'm not wearing pants right now.
That's true.
I mean, even if you're watching on YouTube and it looks like I have pants, I don't have pants on.
No.
They're
we
just my they're my denim underwear.
yes.
So yeah,
We put those on in post. That's what that is.
just make me blurry. Like if you go back in and like edit everything, just like make my face blurry.
I
like
should. Like the true crime documentaries
yeah,
and shit. Yeah.
that'd be hilarious.
Like make your voice real deep.
Yeah.
We're not sure who this is.
Love it.
Oh yeah. So some general news here as far as like the podcast and shit goes. So this week I'll be starting the redesign process of the studio. So it may still look like this next week, or it may look completely different, or it may look like a fucking mess.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I've
See
done
what
that.
happens.
I've done that.
Yeah.
Mine used to be just a table. Now it's full blown like my studio.
Right,
So
yeah.
yeah. It's,
Yeah, it's always a big ado, but yeah, I have it in my head how I want it to look, and I'm hoping that it works out how I want it to.
Then a table doesn't fit.
Yeah,
yeah,
right?
that's exactly
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I might get halfway through it and be like, this isn't going to work. And
Yeah.
back to square one.
Yeah.
But, I think it'll be all right. Also, I'm about halfway done with the brand new logo design for the podcast. I'm excited to finish it up and have it live in 2024. And also, starting in 2024, I'm going to be releasing episodes every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern. So our schedules always fluctuate. I try to record on Sundays, but sometimes Saturday works better, or sometimes a Friday works better. So with the options now to release at a certain time and date,
Yep.
I think that'll work out well. It'll be a lot more consistent. So regardless of when we actually record,
Yeah.
it'll go out at the same time every week.
Yeah. I
So-
used to do that too, like set a timer and like
Yeah.
have them released, or if I was on vacation, I just preload like 2 of them and then
Oh,
they
yeah, true.
yeah.
Yeah,
It works out well. And it's
absolutely.
it's a lot easier on you.
For sure,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'm
For
not
sure.
rushing around
Mhm.
as soon as we finish up to try and get everything wrapped up and
Yeah.
rolling and all that. So the next few episodes here in December, it'll still be the same same Saturday, Sunday night release format, but the first episode in January will start the new release schedule. And finally, I updated the email address for the show. I felt it needed a simpler URL. So the new email now is bggpodcast@gmail.com. So if you have any topics, movies, or anything else you'd like to hear us talk about here on the episodes, please send us an email. Again, it's bggpodcast@gmail.com. So some horror movie news from this past week. So Lee Winnell is re-teaming with Universal and Blumhouse to direct a new take on the Wolfman. So, of course, Lee Winnell we know from Saw, Dead Silence. He's directed a few of the Insidious movies. He also directed the Invisible Man movie from 2020.
Oh, cool.
Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, it's good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely check that
cool.
out. So, yeah, he's now working on the Wolfman. Christopher Abbott, who you may recognize from movies such as It Comes at Night and Possessor, is playing the title character. No other details yet, but it's scheduled to be released on October 25th, 2024. So yeah, if it's anything like The Invisible Man or as good as The Invisible Man, it should be a good time.
I wonder if he'll like incorporate like the cryptid aspect of like the Dogman cryptid.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like this whole like genre of cryptid. It's like a dog that just walks on its hind legs.
Okay.
And there's so many sightings around where we actually live. It's wild. But I wonder if he'll incorporate that into like the movie, because the Wolfman dog maybe will. That'd be cool.
Mayhaps.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd like that.
Yeah, the Invisible Man one, he kind of went with a more realistic aspect. So yeah, it's hard to say, but we'll find out next year.
Nice.
Yes.
I like it.
So speaking of things that Lee Winnell has helped create, and this will come as no surprise, but Saw 11 is officially happening, and it is slated for a September 27th, 2024 release. Now, no director or cast have been announced yet. It was just reported that the writers of Saw X, Josh Stolberg and Pete Goldfinger, will not be returning to write Saw 11. So, not sure how I feel about this. You haven't seen Saw 10?
No.
Okay.
I haven't seen any. I think we talked about this before, but I haven't seen any since like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind on that. Saw universe.
Yeah, I mean they're all fun, but they definitely went downhill after 3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Saw 10, a lot of people have really liked it. I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
I wasn't completely sold on it. So Saw 11 now, I feel like it's going to be just another movie like that brings back those characters.
I lose interest. Like,
Yeah.
look at the Fast and Furious movies. Like cool. Like they're like,
Yeah, right.
All right, we did 3 of them, and now there's 10 of them. And
Yeah.
you're like, how many times can you beat this dead horse? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it seems like we're always driving out of skyscrapers now, and there's like tanks and stuff. I'm like, oh,
Going
like,
to space.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's maybe I just don't understand it because I'm not in that profession of, like movies and
Right.
I don't know. Is it just a good thing just to, like a Call of Duty, just put another one out every year and just make the
right.
money? And
Yeah, that's what it kind of, like, at this point, it's like the movies that are up to 10 and 11 and shit like
Yeah.
that. Like, yeah, they're successful, and that's why they keep getting sequels. But at the same time, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it feels like it's more about the money than anything.
Uh-huh.
Like Saw, like I really like Saw as a franchise, but yeah, like it's once we got past Jigsaw and John Kramer, it was just like we're just gonna make shit up
Yeah.
that doesn't quite make sense. And now with Saw 10, we're going back in time to bring John Kramer back, which was cool to see Tobin Bell on screen again. But like, did we need to?
Yeah.
Did we really need to?
I know what you mean.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'll stay optimistic about it for now. So 1987's vampire classic, The Lost Boys, is getting a musical adaptation. So not much in the way of news on this one yet, other than Patrick Wilson will be one of the producers of it. So I'm low-key kind of stoked for this. I'm curious if Patrick Wilson will play a role in it, because he is actually like a theatrically trained singer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Yeah, it'd be interesting. Also, the saxophone dude better make an appearance. I need that.
Yeah. If it's a musical, it almost like
you would have to.
you would have to.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's not like The Sound of Music or anything. So, or Cats.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that would be, I don't know. That's a cool way to do something like that for that movie. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
You see a lot of these things that come out with like musicals or Broadways or whatever. And I have no interest in it, but this, it touches a different genre of fans and people. So
yeah, I'm not sure. It didn't there was not much news about it. So I don't think it's going to be like a musical movie. It probably will be more so like a stage show. But yeah, it's a cool little different type of thing to it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. If there's any more news in the coming weeks. The last bit of horror news for today is that we are in fact getting an Orphan 3 film. So the news comes from an article from Bloody Disgusting. Now, have you seen the Orphan movies?
I believe so.
Okay.
I don't retain knowledge from movies. Like I just watch them and like,
right.
Hey, it's a good movie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Orphan is the little girl who's she's an orphan. I couldn't think of that word.
Yeah.
So she's an orphan, obviously, and she's adopted by a family, and then she's like fucking homicidal.
Yeah.
Tries to kill the family. And then they made a prequel, which was Orphan First Kill, that came out like a year or two ago.
Was the first one like older? Is it like the
2008?
Okay. Yeah.
Around there, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, then they made the prequel, like I said, a couple years ago. I wasn't sure how that was going to go. Like the first half was kind of like, oh, this is more of the same. But then there was a fucking twist.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay, I'm into this. I wasn't a huge fan of the ending, but that's regardless of that, it was still pretty good. So this article then, like I said, from Bloody Disgusting, says William Brent Bell stepped into the director's chair for Orphan First Kill, a prequel film that solidified Esther's killer icon status. The filmmaker revealed that he's actively developing a follow-up, ensuring Esther's killer hijinks will continue. Quote, "We're developing a third one now. The franchise's rulebook has been opened up to where anything is possible. And knowing where we are in the process already, I'm extremely excited about the twists and turns that we have in store." So, yeah, the original one ends in a way that there shouldn't be a sequel to that.
Okay.
And then the prequel, the second one, kind of leads up to the first one. So I'm not sure where they're going to fit a sequel.
Okay.
But I don't know. We'll see. Unless they kind of go, I don't know. They twist the original ending around a bit and she's back. I don't know. We'll see.
See, they always get so the movies get so muddled for me. Like in the script there that you had written down, it's like it says The Boy, and I'm like, okay, now I'm like those movies all like what was there's another one that's like that too. I forget what it's called, but it's kind of the same type of like little kid is either possessed or like a murderer,
right?
So it's. I don't know. I get them too confused. Like I said, I just like, oh, it's a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's how most people work.
Yeah. And that's why there's 10 Fast and Furious movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
They just want to see shit explode and cars do stupid, impossible things.
Exactly. So,
and Vin Diesel.
Yeah. That's the biggest draw of it all.
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely.
Yeah. So our main topic tonight, the Christmas and holiday season is a time for joy, giving, and peace. But it's also a very busy time of the year for crime, robbery, and murder.
Yes, my 3 favorite things.
You just did some of that tonight.
What? Yeah, on the way here. You don't think I pay for gas, do you?
No. There's not a lot of Christmas horror movies that are based on true stories, or at least advertised that way. So I figured we kind of tiptoe into some true crime tonight and go over some real-life holiday horrors. So I came across an article from grunge.com that lists 27 most frightening murders that happen around Christmas. Now, it's quite a lot there. So we'll probably, kind of roll through these fairly quickly, at least most of them. Then I saved the biggest one for last.
I know. I know exactly what it is. There's no doubt in my mind. I know what it is.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, they had it first on this list, and I was like, no,
No, the cart before the horse thing. Yeah, no.
Like we could have a whole episode about that, and I thought about it, but I was like,
That's a huge episode. We'll get to it, but yeah, I've delved into that many times.
Yeah.
I have a lot of opinions on that case too. So
yeah, it's yeah. So that'll be the headliner of tonight's show for sure.
Perfect.
So the other 26, like I said, we'll roll through. I know you did an episode on this last Christmas. So there may be a few that you had that aren't in here, so we can always touch on that as well if you like. Or
yeah, this stuff fascinates me because it's just the mindset of people whenever they're committing crimes.
Right.
It's just what is going through their head. What kind of emotion is burning through them to be able to kill their family and drag them out in the snow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely,
it's even any of these cases you could probably just take and just dissect into pieces and it'd be like a whole episode. That's why crime podcasts are like the number one thing, like Serial, it's like the number one podcast in the world. It's because it fascinates everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's definitely fascinating. And it's a lot of information, and you're right. You could take any of these and make a whole episode out of them.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
But this time, we're not going to do that.
Nope.
We're just going to roll right through them, give our thoughts, move on to the next, see what happens. But warning for the listeners and viewers, the article does contain references to physical and sexual abuse, suicide, and hate crimes. So usually we don't put up warnings because we're talking about movies. Not that that's not, triggering for some people, but this being real life shit, I wanted to throw out the warning there.
Yeah, you got little kids in the car. You may want to listen to this at
another
later
time.
date.
Yep. It's all right. We won't be offended. Just pause it. Pick it up later.
Yeah. Or, don't.
Or don't. Or don't. Just hit that download button.
It's fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
So starting off with the Lawson family. So December 25th, 1929 in Germantown, North Carolina, the Lawson family was having a peaceful Christmas. Charlie Lawson, a sharecropper, had gotten enough money together to take his wife and 7 children out to buy new clothes and even had family photos taken. A pretty good Christmas considering the Great Depression had begun earlier the same year. But then, something no one could have predicted happened, and historians and researchers still don't completely understand it. Charlie decided, for reasons unknown, to kill his entire family. He shot 2 of his younger daughters as they were leaving to visit their aunt and uncle, according to the Greensboro News and Record. He then shot his wife, who was sitting on the front porch, went inside and killed his oldest daughter and 2 younger sons, and finally murdered his infant daughter last. Afterward, he went into the nearby woods and died by suicide. Now, you might have noticed Lawson only killed 6 of his 7 children. For equally mysterious reasons, Charlie sent his oldest son, Arthur, on an errand run before he began the killing. No motive was ever determined for the killing, nor were his reasons for sparing Arthur. One rumor alleges Charlie was molesting his oldest daughter, Marie, and she was pregnant. Thus, he killed his family out of shame and guilt. This hasn't been proven, however, and Marie was not noted to be pregnant during her autopsy.
Okay. I've looked into this case multiple times. Yeah, so the molesting the daughter thing, that seems to be like the motive, and having the money for like new clothes and pictures was like draining his savings.
Okay.
Right? He knew it was all premeditated. He knew he was going to do it. And his oldest son was big enough to be to fight back.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
so that's why he
yeah.
sends him away. And then he's at an errand where everybody else is small and fragile and weak, and he can just kill all them and then be done with it. He walks out in the woods and kills himself. So the motive seems to stick with this story a lot. Like you see it a lot whenever you research this, because it's huge. It's huge. It's like one of the Christmas ones, it's
right.
And it's a crazy story the more you look into it. But there's a show on Netflix, maybe. I don't remember what streaming services is, but they take people and they put them in haunted places and they have to like survive.
Okay.
Whatever it was, there is an episode or a season where one of their contestants are in their house.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, because I remember that having to do with something or other, and the medium that's in it, extra large medium.
Yes.
The medium that's in there, she figures the case out. She ends up finding out what case it is because they don't tell them when they go in.
Okay.
You know. And she ends up figuring it out. And I forget what the name of the show is. That's going to kill me. But yeah, that's it was really interesting because I knew the case as soon as they were like talking about it. But yeah, it's a wild story, especially to be almost 100 years old now.
Yeah, right.
1929.
Yeah, that like shit like that. It's just like any kind of crazy crime is mind blowing. But when it's like you take out your whole family. And like even like locally, like we, you know, I'm sure you've known people, or I've known people that have just like snapped one day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you're like, it's always like someone you would never expect.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, I'm just like when I read this, I'm like putting myself in the place of like his wife or like one of the kids. Like they're having a great day. They're out shopping, getting pictures taken, and then it's just like it's counting down hours until
he's
like,
just
it's fucking crazy.
He's just like he knew what was going on, and the whole like molesting his daughter thing was kind of
right.
I think like what I think is she ends up telling somebody, and he was gonna get arrested for it. And yeah, I mean 29, you know, say they didn't know that she was pregnant. That happens. That happens in cases, especially that old. So yeah, it's crazy though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because his mindset was he was going to go away forever.
So let's take them all.
Let's all take them all out. Yep. And that's a theme to a lot of things. A lot of cases like that.
Yeah, unfortunately. Like you did the shit, just fucking deal with the consequences.
Yeah, man. Own up to your mistakes for sure.
So our next one here, housing can be tough to find for a student, especially in the last several years. And while Christmas may be about goodwill towards those around you, sometimes the situation is simply not sustainable. This was the situation 18-year-old Alexis Valdez found himself in on Christmas Day 2013. Valdez had been staying with his aunt and her boyfriend, Silvestre Diaz Hernandez, who allowed him to live in their apartment as long as he remained in school, worked, and helped out with the bills. At some point, though, Valdez quit school and his job and wasn't upholding his part of the bargain any longer. His aunt and her boyfriend decided to ask him to leave. It was bad timing, seeing as it was Christmas, but Valdez seemed to take it extra hard considering what happened next. So he confronted his aunt's boyfriend, and things quickly turned violent. In his anger, Valdez killed Diaz Hernandez with a hammer, mutilated his body by removing all of his limbs, and then decapitated him, also disfiguring his face in the process, leaving his head in Valdez's aunt's bed. He later described this as a present. Valdez called the police and told them exactly what happened and fully admitted to the murder when police arrived. They found him covered in blood. Reportedly, Valdez later said he would have killed his aunt too had she been home.
Damn. Man, how I don't know. What was the driving factor in this? You know what I mean? Like he quit school and his job and wasn't like helping out.
Right.
But what is the driving factor for him, like, to just go off the deep end? He gets in an argument, and I understand like heat of passion. Like you've been in arguments with people.
Right.
I mean, I've never thought of like dismembering them and decapitating them and putting a head in somebody's bed. But I mean, you've been in arguments with, you know, and sometimes you might say something that's a little out of pocket or a little too far, you know, just to try to win an argument. And maybe this goes too far over something so simple.
Right.
But he had that burning rage in him somewhere about something. Maybe, you know, just he was mad that the guy was banging his aunt. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? By that information, I'm sure they probably weren't fans of each other. So I'm sure there was probably a lot of arguments that led up to that.
Yeah. You know that, you know that feeling when somebody you don't like somebody.
Oh yeah.
You just don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have nothing in common. You don't agree on anything, you know, and you just know that person and heck, they could have been those people.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
but then they're stuck living together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, just move out. Maybe get an apartment with friends. Pretty much anything besides killing and dismembering someone and pulling a Godfather with their head.
That's gruesome, man.
That's
gruesome.
really
It is
gruesome.
time consuming.
Oh, I bet.
It's not something simple.
No.
You know, it's not like Goro from Mortal Kombat, like
Right.
ripping your arms off.
Yeah.
You know, that takes a while, cutting through bone, like in cartilage. And
Yeah.
I was a hunter for years, so I know, like, even just field dressing deer,
Right.
you know, it's a process. It's not like you just do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It takes,
I think people think that too. Like, it's a lot simpler. Like in cases where they're like dismembering bodies,
Oh, yeah.
they think it's a lot easier because of movies.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I could just take a saw and
Yep.
then you realize you're 30 minutes into one limb and you're like, it's a lot harder than it was supposed to be.
Right. So yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
ugh. Like I said, yeah, just find other ways of getting away from that person.
Yeah.
That's my advice at
Yeah.
least. So one of the most terrible crimes committed during the Christmas season didn't even happen in the 20th century.
Nice.
In the wee hours of Christmas Eve, 1881, in Ashland, Kentucky, Emma Carrico was staying with her friends and next-door neighbors, Robert and Fanny Gibbons, according to Sword and Scale. All three were young adults, still in their teens, and enjoyed one another's company. With Emma's mom just next door, it seemed like a perfectly safe night away from home. At some point between December 23rd and 24th, something horrible happened. 3 men carrying axes burst into the home and savagely murdered the trio. As if that weren't enough, they set the house on fire too. Emma Carrico's mother saw the flames from next door and called for help. The axe-wielding men had fled, and in the remains of the fire, the townspeople found the charred bodies of Emma and the Gibbons. No definitive motive was ever discovered for the crime, but a man named George Ellis did confess, implicating his 2 partners, William Neal and Ellis Craft. All 3 were locked up in a secure location due to fears that a lynch mob might come and kill them. A year later, Neal and Craft were sentenced to hang and Ellis to life in prison. But this time, the lynch mob did come for Ellis, and he was killed the night of his conviction.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Vigilanteism.
Yep.
I love it.
Justice is served.
I love that in all cases. Like,
Yep.
the taking matters into your own hand type of thing. This reminds me of Villisca. Have you ever heard of the Villisca axe murders?
I have. Yes, I have.
This reminds me of that. But these guys got caught.
Right.
I like the Villisca thing. Like, nobody ever got caught, and it was super strange. Like, there was cigarettes put out in the attic. Like, the dude was like living in the attic and
Right.
like in the walls. That case is that was like one of the first cases we ever covered on the show. It's like a real early episode on our show. But yeah, just like what I would love to know reasoning, like why they would just like burst in the door, kill these 3 girls with axes, and then set
Right.
it on fire. What was the you
Yeah.
know? Was it a scorned lover and like his buddies, or was it just like, man, what? Why? Just the why. The why in this case is probably huge.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's like that's a factor in a lot of these that there's no answer for.
Yeah.
Like,
Motive is motive. Maybe motive in your mind is the only motive needed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we will never understand that motive, maybe because that's not how our brains are wired.
yeah. Right.
So, yeah.
That's very true. Yeah. Cause I mean, even different things that, people have done that we do know the motive for, sometimes it's very minimal motive. Like, it's just the stupidest little thing that just,
Yeah,
set
but
'em off.
to them, it's the biggest thing,
Right,
You know,
right, yeah.
Just like scorned lovers,
Yeah.
somebody like walks in and like they walk in on their wife cheating on them. I
Right.
mean, that's a rage of emotion. Like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
in maybe case you have an axe in your hand at the time, like you just got done cutting firewood and you walk in and you know what I mean,
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so the littlest motive could be huge. When
true.
in a case like that, you could just turn around and leave and get an apartment and
Yeah.
hang out,
True.
eat pizza.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah. I think the moral of all these stories is you could just move out, get an apartment, and eat pizza.
that's it, guys. We'll talk to you next
Yeah.
week if you want to talk
If you're
about.
ever feeling like you need to
Yeah.
to murder someone, just think, I should get an apartment,
Yeah, man,
move out, and get pizza.
I love it.
And you stay out of jail. You stay. Everyone stays alive. It's a win-win,
Your
really.
butthole stays in one size.
Yeah. Or it doesn't, if that's what you're into.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm not saying what you do. You do you.
You do you. That's what we're about. You do you. So one of the... Oh, I already read that.
Yep.
Moving on. Gianni Belvedere was talking to his cousin on the phone, waiting in the parking lot of a Macy's in Mission Valley, California. It was the early hours of Christmas Eve morning, 2013, and Gianni had come to pick up his fiancée, Alona Flint, who worked there. At the time, Macy's was staying open extra late to cater to last-minute shoppers. As Gianni was waiting, a man approached, shot, and killed him, then stole his car. The man, Carlo Mercado, drove Gianni's car to his own house, even filling it up with gas, but soon came back to Macy's for his motorcycle, which had broken down nearby. Once there, Mercado encountered Flint and Gianni's brother, Sal, who were searching for him. They saw Gianni's car, but quickly realized it wasn't him driving. Mercado killed them both. Police later arrested Mercado and expected to hear some sort of explanation for the shootings, but there wasn't one. Mercado had never met them. There was a theory that Gianni's murder was tied to a road rage incident, but this was never confirmed, and Mercado wouldn't comment. Authorities ended up declaring the killings a, quote, random act of violence.
Man, I don't believe that in one I don't remember. I don't. Dude, you know how, like, off you would have to be just to, like, random act of violence? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I think there's some other factor in there. Drugs, maybe. Meth, speed, crank, coke, whatever he was on. You know, all of it. Yeah, and then, like, he's just out of his mind, you know? Random act of violence. There are, but I can't. He shot, like, 3 people, man.
Right, yeah.
That doesn't seem like he committed a murder, left, came back, murdered 2 other people
that were involved with the first person.
Yeah, how weird is that too? But I don't random act of violence. There's a factor there that we're not. That guy was. He walked in with an axe with his wife cheating on it. I don't know.
Right,
like there's something going on there that isn't just. I'm carrying a gun today. I'm gonna go shoot somebody.
Yeah, right.
Does that happen? Probably.
My motorcycle broke down. I'm really pissed. Someone's gonna die.
Dude, I don't know. The road rage thing would give me a better confirmation. Like, yeah, there was like earlier in the day, and then he recognized the car and he confronted the guy, and then he was like, "Fuck you!" Oh, you know,
right.
You know, and then
I mean, especially on a motorcycle, because like there's
you got to be super defensive on a motorcycle. So it's like that dude cut him off in traffic, and then by happenstance that his motorcycle broke down where that guy was parked. He's like, right. I remember that guy. And then there's a factor. It's not random.
Right.
You know?
Yep. But yeah, for it to be random to take that dude out, like I said, leave, come back, and then take out his girlfriend and brother.
Yeah.
Like just randomly.
Yeah. I don't.
It's a little suspicious.
Yeah. I think there's some factors to
for sure. Yeah. Sure. I agree. So there are a number of horror movies, often of questionable quality, set around Christmas time and featuring a killer in a Santa Claus outfit. They're my favorite. But that's just fiction, right? Mostly, yes. But it has happened more than once, and not in a silly, over-the-top bit of B-horror way. On December 24th, 2008, the Ortega family of Covina, California, was sitting down for Christmas Eve dinner and enjoying family time. That's when Bruce Pardo, the ex-husband of Sylvia Ortega, showed up. Pardo, wielding multiple firearms, immediately began firing at his former in-laws, all while dressed as Santa Claus. When he was done with this monstrous act, he used a homemade flamethrower to burn the Ortega's house to the ground. Wow.
This was on my episode. I can't wait. Go ahead.
In all, 9 members of the Ortega family, including Pardo's ex-wife, were dead by gunshot or fire. Pardo died by suicide at his brother's home hours later. So, yeah. That's all. I don't know if you have more information on that or not, but that's all it gave us there.
I guess let's put this in like perspective.
Right.
There was like 9 people killed here, so it was a Hispanic family, like big, huge, like gathering for Christmas, like nine family
it's
members.
All about family.
Yeah. So there was something with the flamethrower that I remember that how did he make it? Was super simple. Like it was just a contraption, like with a
Dude, it
Stray
sounds
nozzle.
like a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah, it's like and I remember that like the two little girls answered the door
Okay.
and he killed both of them like right off. Like they
Damn.
opened the door and it was like 9mm handgun.
Right.
I think most of them were handgun related. He may have had a shotgun with him too. But I remember the part of it was like the two younger girls answered the door and he was just Danny DeVito. He just started blasting, you know,
Jesus.
it like, and then people, obviously what's your gut reaction? You're going to run towards the door or your kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was just like, people like not dead, right? Through gunshot. Like you guys do understand, like you don't die all the time from a gunshot,
Oh, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So there was like people like just like shot through and then he just bang, burned the house down, like tree, couch, burned the house down. Yeah, dude, it's a fucking wild story. But I do, I do remember the part about the like opening the door and he was just like coming in and bang, 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 shot everybody up. And
Yeah, that's fucking wild.
it's nothing to laugh at. It's just
not,
craziness.
and I was just thinking that, but like if this is your first time listening to our podcast, we do talk about, it's usually about movies, about, you know, some pretty serious stuff, but usually there's some humor, some laughter, and that's, I think, our way of kind of dealing with that shit, at least mine.
Oh yeah, mine too. Like,
making jokes and laughing.
I try
So
to
it's
keep
not-
everything light so it's not heavy.
yeah.
We're not just like on December 28th.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to keep it light because these are this shit really did happen and it's super serious
It
and
really
people
is,
people are still living with this today.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
and then they see like a podcast comes out and it's all about this, you know,
Right.
they just relive those things again. So
no, 100%.
yeah, well, yeah, in no way, I've said this before on my show too, in no way, shape or form am I trying to make jokes about incidents that happen to people.
No.
You know, I'm just trying to keep it light so it doesn't seem so heavy.
Right. 100%.
If you want to listen to something heavy, you go listen to some true crime podcast.
Yeah.
and they'll make you feel worse about this.
Yeah. We're just here to goof off and talk about some shit and
get
have
some
a good time.
perspective of me and you and you know, maybe
Our fucked up humor.
some kind of angle that maybe you didn't see in the case to begin with.
100%. But yeah, no, there's nothing funny about what we talk about, but our way of talking about it is to make light of things. So
yeah,
don't take it offensively at all. That's not the way that we intend it. It's just it's how we deal with this shit.
Yeah, no, cut that whole clip out and put it back at the beginning.
Yeah. Public service announcement.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the flamethrower though, like as fucked up as it is, like he's got to get creativity points.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because that's not something you hear every day. A homemade flamethrower.
I've been trying, man, but you know they never work right. So,
well, unless you're Elon Musk, I don't think you can like really make.
Man, those ones
homemade
were
one.
terrible anyway.
That was terrible, right?
They were terrible.
Damn it. All right, so the early civil rights movement was fraught with danger, obviously. Speaking up against oppression against black people when there were far fewer voices echoing yours meant you were always a target, like Harry and Harriet Moore, a married couple from Florida who counted themselves among the loudest voices of the early 1950s. At home in Mims, Florida, to celebrate Christmas on December 25th, 1951, the Moores didn't expect anything unusual. Of course, that's when the worst things tend to happen. It was not only Christmas, but also their 25th wedding anniversary, and they celebrated with their young daughter. But tragedy struck that night. A bomb placed under the floorboards of their home detonated, killing both Harry and Harriet, but sparing their daughter, who was in another part of the house when the bomb exploded. So who would be so cruel as to commit a terrorist act on Christmas? The Ku Klux Klan, of course, hoping to silence the Moors. It wasn't even a mystery. Police figured out pretty quickly, but unfortunately were unable to arrest the perpetrators before their deaths. 2 of the suspects died of natural causes within a year, while a third committed suicide after being interviewed twice by the FBI. The Klan made a big mistake, though. Killing the Moors only empowered the civil rights movement, lighting a fire under the cause and spawning numerous protests and nationwide anger toward the murderers. Karma, motherfucker. That's what that is right there.
The bomb part, man, I don't know. I guess I don't. Oh man, that's a tough that's tough for
You
like a bomb,
snuck in,
like
put a bomb
snuck
on the
in,
floor. I mean,
like how much hate do you have to have? Like I dislike people, like not like that, like not racially
well, yeah,
dislike. I just dislike people
just in general.
in
Yeah,
general. But like to go in and like put a bomb like
Yeah.
that
Well, I mean,
takes a
there's-
different type of hate.
I feel like there's no normal people in the Ku Klux Klan. so-
No. But they wanted you to like. That's why they wore the mask too. There because they didn't want to know that you were. They were handling your finances down at the bank.
yeah,
either.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
giving you checkups every year at the doctor's office.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. Now, yeah. How do you go about being like? I'm glad we're like, I guess moving past some of that in their country. I mean, I don't know. I don't. Who knows? Are we? Are we not?
Yeah,
Is
I
it
know.
worse now than it was? You know, it's hard to gauge. I mean, like the people. You know, I like I said, I dislike people, but it's not because of race or sexuality. I just
it's
dislike
just
people in general.
All right.
I don't know. Yes.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I'll give anyone a chance, but if
Oh yeah.
if you're an asshole, you're an asshole.
Yeah,
Regardless-
that's
regardless of
tough. Mm-hmm.
anything. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But no,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
To
What
I
we're
mean,
trying to
this
say
is
is fuck the Ku Klux Klan.
oh, absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Their buttholes can get
Yeah.
stretched out for all we
Oh,
care.
yeah. To the full extent.
All of them.
To the fullest
To
extent.
the fullest extent.
Till your whole body is a giant butthole.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that's a wild one. Like, just
Why?
yeah.
Just the why. You know, why be like that? I guess I don't know. It's Florida.
Florida in the
the-
50s. So I mean, I don't know if people lock their doors as much in the 50s. But I mean,
Yeah.
I
does
guess
that-
you
does
could
that-
sneak in and just throw a bomb onto the floor and call it a day.
Who's building bombs?
Well,
The same guys like building flamethrowers.
yeah.
All it premeditated. All of it is premeditated.
Wow, absolutely.
All right, what do we got next
All
here?
right, moving on. During the holiday season of 2010, 15-year-old Christy Bamu and his four siblings left Paris to stay at the home of their oldest sister, Magali. This shit's got me all fucked up.
Yeah, it's some weird names.
Magali lived in London. It seemed like a lovely family get-together during the Christmas season, but things got out of control fast, and Christy died on Christmas Day. This was merely the tragic end of his long ordeal, though, and the things leading up to his death were pure horror. So, Magali Bamu, 29, had taken up with a boyfriend, Eric Bikubi, and the two shared an apartment together. Things seemed normal at first, but an unknown incident caused Eric to accuse Magali's sibling of performing kindoki, a type of witchcraft
We should talk
purported to be practiced by evildoers in their home country of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. While he initially pointed fingers at all of Magali's siblings, he soon focused specifically on Christy. This began a days-long nightmare where Christy was tortured with knives, pliers, and grotesquely a hammer and chisel. Ooh. Eric claimed to be trying to exorcise Christy, and all the while his sister Magali stood by and did nothing. Eric eventually drowned Christy in the bathtub. In the aftermath, Eric claimed that he had brain damage that caused him to believe Christy was a witch. Magali denied any belief in witchcraft, making her inaction even more horrifying. Both were sentenced to life in prison for the crime.
We did talk about this. We talked about this case on our episode because I kept getting the names and the people confused because somebody has like a guy has a girl's name.
Yeah, that's what threw me off
It's-
first.
it's
Was
super-
Christy.
Yeah, it's super confusing, but the Eric,
Mm.
yeah, the guy that was like torturing,
Right.
Yeah, that I guess in that case he had some. I don't know how deep you get into like true crime, but like people, every time something like this extreme happens, everybody tries to state that they have some kind of mental illness. Not
Right.
mental illness. Not saying that mental illness isn't a thing, but they're like, I have brain trauma, or
Mhm.
and they try to play to that Good. And that's a lot of the lawyer thing too. It's not always the actual person.
It's like back in the day, it was insanity.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Smash.
Yeah.
It's just
but to like torture somebody, like especially with a hammer and chisel.
that's not how you exercise a demon at all.
No, we already talked
Fuck.
about this. You need holy water.
Yeah, you need the power of Christ to compel you.
Yeah.
And this is 2010. Like, come on now. There's been plenty of exorcism movies that have come out.
Yeah. Why? How didn't you know?
Fucking amateurs.
Yeah. Yep.
But no, like regardless, yeah, that's fucked up, man. Like
Tortures.
you're practicing witchcraft, so I'm gonna torture you.
Yeah.
What?
We talked about some torture on our show one time, and it was about a guy that was like keeping people chained in the basement, and it's just horrific. Like he was shocking them with like car batteries and wall outlets and stuff like that. And finally, somebody had like escaped, and he like turned in, and just to like imagine going through something like that is just horrific.
Oh yeah,
like
100%.
it would be horrific. You'd almost want to die at one point.
Oh yeah,
You know.
yeah.
You lose hope after a while, for sure.
I don't understand like people that do shit like that. Like I'm not paranoid at all, but like there's like little things that I'll just like kind of dwell on all day. Like something happens at work or something at home, whatever. Like I'll just think about it.
Yeah.
Almost like I'm in trouble type deal.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you got people locked in your basement. Like, how are you going just functioning day to day with all like?
Yeah.
There's people in
There's
your
people
basement.
like
Like-
be like, did I lock that chain?
Yeah,
like it's just
right?
like leaving the house. Like, did I lock the door?
I
And be
mean,
like,
yeah, it'd be a fucking mess.
yeah,
24/7.
Oh, I'm sure that
Like-
they're called psychopaths.
Yeah, I guess
You know?
that's my
Yeah.
my sign that I'm not one.
Yeah,
So
you're
there's
not.
that.
Yep.
There's the positivity of the podcast. I'm not a psychopath.
Not a psychopath.
Woo.
Perfect.
So on December 25th, 2010, in Los Angeles, California, a horror was unfolding. Kashmir James, a 25-year-old nurse, was visiting a friend for Christmas with her 3-year-old daughter, Nivea, in tow, according to LA Weekly. After spending some time with loved ones, Kashmir and Nivea got back into the car, with Nivea placed in a car seat in the back. Kashmir was climbing into the driver's seat when 3 males pulled up next to her and murdered her in a drive-by shooting. Nivea was unharmed but saw the whole thing. At a press conference where police announced a search for the killers, someone passed Nivea a microphone where she heartbreakingly asked the crowd to please help her mommy. Police did eventually track down the killers and brought them to justice, but what they found out in the process was even more terrible. The murderers were 16-year-olds participating in a gang killing, but that's not the horrifying part. They killed Kashmir James by mistake. They had misidentified her as their intended victim. She had been in the wrong place at the wrong time, and so a young child's mother was violently killed in front of her on Christmas, all based on mistaken identity and some very unfortunate timing.
Yeah, gang initiation. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It was like you kill to get in.
And that's unfortunately, I've heard numerous stories of this happening, like different places.
Yeah, there's
Like like it was a gang thing, but it was the wrong victim. They were going for one person and completely fucked it up.
yeah, you would think that you would try to get that right.
You would think, yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess I guess to them it really wouldn't matter, right? Because it's just a gang initiation. Like
Right.
maybe they had a hit on somebody, but they were still like,
They still did the thing.
yeah,
It'd be better though if they were like, if they go back to the headquarters or whatever, clubhouse, whatever deal, wherever they hang out. I don't know.
clubhouse. Yeah, it's just
Treehouse.
MICKY. No, that's not where they hang out.
But yeah, they get back and like, well, you killed the wrong person, so no.
Yeah,
The
no,
answer's
you
no.
guys. Yeah, we can't count on you guys to.
Oh man.
Yeah, we got quotas here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Quality is just as important as quantity.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. I guess there's a really good. Oh man, I shouldn't even bring it up because I don't remember the artist or the name of the song, so I'm not going to. But it's a really good song about like gang initiation. And this guy like makes friends with this guy, and the kid's like a loner, and they got like real close, and like he's his only friend, but he realizes that he's just making friends with him to like be a gang initiation.
Okay.
He takes him out somewhere and shoots him. It's based on a true
Damn.
story. And the kid survives. That's how they knew about the
okay.
story. Yeah. Man, I'll look at it. I'll try to find it just so.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. Give me a second.
Yeah. You look that up. We'll
You keep
get into the
you
next one here.
Keep moving.
Christmas Eve 1992 was just the beginning of a multi-day crime spree committed in Dayton, Ohio, which included murder and robbery. Things started relatively small but quickly spiraled out of control until December 26, 1992, when the perpetrators were finally caught. It began with Marvelous Keene, 19, his girlfriend Laura Taylor, 16, and their friend Heather Matthews, 20. The three planned to rob an associate, Joseph Wilkerson. After breaking into Wilkerson's home and tying him up, Keene and Taylor found a gun in the home and used it to kill the man they were only there to rob. This was the inciting event that seemed to instill a bloodlust in the three. They added DeMarcus Smith, 17, to their group and began joy-killing strangers such as Danita Goulet, who was merely talking on a payphone when the group came across her and killed her in cold blood. Taylor and Matthews both called their ex-boyfriends, escalating to attacking people known to them. One was injured when Matthews shot him. The other was executed by Taylor while the man was driving, requiring Taylor to dive out of the moving vehicle before it crashed. The crew ended things by killing two friends who the group thought might implicate them. The four were apprehended the following morning, December 26. Taylor, Matthews, and Smith are serving life sentences. Keene was executed in 2009. He had no final words.
Yep. I've looked at this case before.
Yeah.
So they kill Wilkerson on the 24th, Christmas Eve. They kill Danita Goulet, 18, at a payphone.
Right.
The 24th, later that day. They shoot Jeffrey Wright, but he survives. Richmond Maddox, 19, he dies from the gunshot. That is Christmas Day, the next day. Three people enter a short stop mini mart, and they shoot the clerk and a customer during the robbery. The clerk dies, and the customer survives. And then on the 26th, they're arrested in their black Dodge Shadow. Interesting car.
Right.
Confiscate several weapons that I've stole from Williamson in the beginning. Police receive a tip as soon to find 16-year-old and 18-year-old man shot to death in a city-owned gravel dump. That was the last two victims.
Right.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Strange turn of events.
Right.
From like strong arm robbery to multiple murders.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just started as a robbery, found a gun, and then just went crazy from there.
Yeah. His name is where was it again?
It's up here.
Yeah, it's Marvalis. Marvalis Keene. Yeah, because I had to check it the same way whenever we were talking about it on our episode.
Not so marvelous Marvalis.
So if we're going back to that, I did find it. It's Joyner Lucas. Have you ever heard of him?
I've heard of the name. Yeah.
He's affiliated with like Eminem, but he has this song. It's called Ross Campanoli, whatever. It's a
Cannoli.
But if you just take some time and listen to that song, because he tells a story from both aspects of the guy that's like wanting to be initiated in the gang and the kid that has no friends.
Huh. Yeah.
And he tells both sides of the story. It's so good.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out after this.
Yeah. Sorry.
Interesting.
Side note.
No, yeah. It's fun fact.
Fun fact.
So on December 22nd, 1987, Dover, Arkansas resident
Arkansas.
Oh, I apologize. On that note, we're going to wrap it up. I have failed you as a host. Dover, Arkansas resident Ronald Gene Simmons began making phone calls to his children, arranging for them to come visit with him and their families over the holidays. While this would be a wholesome under ordinary circumstances, Simmons had something very disturbing in mind, according to All That's Interesting. Over the next several days, as his children and their families arrived at previously scheduled times, Simmons began methodically killing each group as they showed up. This bloody work took 4 days, and by December 26th, Simmons had killed 14 members of his own family, lining their bodies up in neat rows. One of his victims were a daughter he had sexually abused for years and had even given birth to a child sired by Simmons. This information becoming public is believed to have been a motivating factor for the crimes. On December 27th, Simmons merely sat at home drinking beer and watching TV. On December 28th, I saw him back at his rampage, though. He traveled to the nearby town of Russellville. He visited his old workplaces, killing 2 and wounding 4. He also stopped to murder a woman who had recently rejected his advances. I don't know why. At his last stop, Simmons simply sat and waited for police to arrive after his deeds, chatting with workers there. He was found guilty, sentenced to death, and executed by lethal injection less than 3 years later on June 25th, 1990.
I think I think we need to speed that process up, especially in horrific crimes. Like, as soon as they're guilty, like, give them one appeal.
Mm-hmm.
They knew he did it.
Yeah, when there's not a shadow of doubt.
Yeah,
absolutely. 100%.
This one's strange too. Like, he had everybody coming over to his house, and like that. I forget all the like little factors, but it was like a single wide trailer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there was like chickens out back, and yeah, and I think they ranged in age anywhere from like I said, young to like children, pregnant. Was his ex-wife. There's a whole bunch of them. I mean, there's 14 of them altogether, but he had them like lined up in the house. I think it was like maybe it's a double wide. I don't know, but it was some sort of trailer that I remember of the story. But yeah, he's just methodically like, you know how like you go over to your family's house for like Christmases and everybody, like I have 2 brothers and a sister. So it's like nieces and nephews. And just imagine just everybody showing up, and then one by one over the course of 2 or 3 days or whatever, just man,
it's fucking crazy,
wild.
Dude. Yeah, reading that, it sounded like a movie. Like,
yeah, it does.
Wow,
it could be.
It could be.
It probably is like Oxygen.
Yeah, right.
Lifetime,
maybe. But yeah, that's fucked up. That's real fucked up.
They're all kind of fucked up.
They're all fucked up.
Yeah, they're all fucked up.
But like, there's some that are like, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
and that's one of them. That's
as long as you're not going, I can see it. You know, like, I could. You know, I agree with that guy.
Yeah.
As long as you're not doing that, you're good.
Right. That's why you gotta talk to your family to make sure you all show up at the same time.
Yeah. It's all one big like.
So yeah,
you have to go to Crazy Uncle's house. You're all going at the same time.
At the same time.
Tips for the upcoming Christmas holiday.
Right. So yeah, if you
you or a loved one.
Yeah, you guys listen out there. If you're supposed to show up at your parents at 3:00. And you talk to your sibling and they're supposed to show up at 5:00, something's amiss, don't go. Don't do it. Call the police.
Power in numbers.
Yes.
God damn it.
You show up at the same time. Bring friends.
Yep.
Because that's a little sus.
Make sure you have that thing on you.
Oh yeah. Yep. Always be prepared. So for many who are fortunate enough to be on good terms with their neighbors, the holidays are a time to share family and cultural traditions. And let's be honest, who doesn't love to get a surprise tray of cookies? But in 2014, the BBC reported on a shocking escalation between neighbors in Edinburgh, Scotland. According to the BBC, 37-year-old Melissa Young approached her neighbor, 47-year-old Alan Williamson, with a Christmas present.
Isn't this the same guy that died in the other one?
He's back.
Okay.
He's back. No, that was Wilkinson.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Something like that.
Sorry.
But it may be the same. Williamson was in her apartment when she offered him a pair of sneakers and a calendar. And when he refused the gift, she would later testify that she had been possessed by a heavenly spirit. Who?
Is this like admissible in court?
I don't know.
The angel made me do it?
The angel made me do it.
Okay.
And I will bring down upon you fire and brimstone. So it was the Archangel Michael, that son of a bitch, who had entered her, giggity, with a flash of light.
I thought you were going to say with a flashlight. I was like,
I almost read that as flashlight. Right? If Michael shows up at your door with a flashlight, well, be prepared.
Be prepared.
She heard voices telling her that she needed to defeat the demon that had taken possession of Williamson. And while she admitted she had stabbed her neighbor 29 times, She also claimed abnormality of mind. I guess that's the magic number for getting a demon out of someone, 29 times.
Do you know how? Just start right now. If you're listening to the podcast, just start stabbing air and count to 20. See if your arm gets tired. See if you have to switch to your non-dominant hand, and then you're stabbing all funny. Like, that's what I mean, though. 29
haymakers with a knife.
Yeah, like it obviously, if you don't have the right knife, it's going to get slippery and you're going to stab yourself. That happens a lot.
Happens a lot, yeah.
And yeah, like try doing that, and then like try like stabbing with your other hand because your other arm's tired.
Right.
Because Michael has entered you. It's I don't know.
Well, she did. Yeah, she had the angel power, so maybe she didn't get tired.
Yeah, man. Okay.
But yeah, you gotta switch. You gotta overhand it. You gotta underhand it.
Yeah.
You gotta slice a few. You gotta Zorro that shit. I don't know.
I have no knife skills, and I have no endurance to stab 29 times.
Yeah, I mean, I've never tried to stab 29 times, but I feel like, by like maybe 15.
I think you start off strong.
I've got wobbly
and then
arms.
like you'd cramp your shoulder or something. Yeah. Something dumb.
Yep. So court documents revealed that Young had called emergency services while Williamson was still alive. He was recorded in the background of the call, pleading to be let out of her apartment. During the trial, Young was diagnosed with a mixed personality disorder that included, quote, emotionally unstable, narcissistic, histrionic, and antisocial traits, and schizophrenia. Her defense appealed her sentence of 20 years to life, and the appeal was refused.
Histrionic.
I
think it's spelled wrong. That's why it does it.
Okay.
It's hysteria.
Oh,
it's like it's chronic hysteria.
Just fucking write hysteria. Jesus Christ.
I think that's what it is. I think they took the Y out and put an I, and she's not a history buff.
Yeah. Well,
she's like, oh, all this history.
Religious history. Maybe.
Yeah, man. What that's like setting off like a pair of shoes and whatever she got him. Maybe she was sexually attracted to him.
Maybe.
You know, he's like 10 years older than her.
Maybe. Yeah.
And he was like, I don't want these shoes.
Pair of sneakers and a calendar.
Maybe the calendar was like her. And he's like,
oh, maybe. Yeah.
God,
maybe.
Sheesh. And maybe he needs orthotics. And he's like,
right.
I can't, like these shoes, I can't wear them, you know?
Yeah.
But okay, there's another point for Christmas. Be grateful.
Actually, yeah.
If somebody gives you something, you know, gift horse.
If your weird neighbor gives you presents,
don't eat them.
Just accept them.
Don't eat weird cookies or food from neighbors.
Right.
Take them and be like, thank you, or sneakers. But yeah, don't be like, I don't want these.
Yeah, don't refuse it.
Seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, you might get stabbed 29 times,
which is difficult
by the archangel.
Yeah,
that's something I'm not going to chance.
My
my neighbor shows up with some shoes and a calendar. I
think I just take
you.
it. Yeah, just like thanks. I'm gonna put them inside now.
Straight to the trash. But thank you.
Yeah. You never know. You might need them to mow the grass.
That's true. It's true. And the calendar might come in handy if it is for the upcoming year. If it was an old calendar,
it's like 74.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
I don't know, but yeah, just take the gifts.
Yeah. Be grateful.
Be grateful. So when Lloyd Price died in 2021 at 88 years old.
It's a good run.
Yeah, for sure. NPR called it the end of an era. Price was one of the last living artists from a vibrant post-war music scene that predated the mainstream greats of the 1950s, like Elvis. One of his most popular songs was Stagger Lee and was based on a true story of a Christmas-time fight and murder that happened in 1895. So according to Missouri Life, two locals named Billy Lyons and Lee Shelton came to blows in a saloon in North St. Louis. Lyons, a levee worker, argued with Shelton, an enterprising sort who did double duty as a carriage driver and one of a group of pimps called Max, known for their fancy clothes. And that's important to the story. Shelton was commonly known as Staggerly or Stackley, and to really set the scene, it's important to also know that he was frequently spotted around the city's red light district, Deep Morgan, and its most popular brothel, the Bucket of Blood. What? I'm not going to lie. If I went to the brothel, it was called Bucket of Blood.
I'd have to walk in.
Absolutely.
I'd have to walk in.
Absolutely.
This story's weird.
It is weird. So unlike the song, Shelton and Lyons weren't gambling. They were arguing politics when Lyons made a grab for Shelton's flashy and pricey Stetson hat. Lyons
Man.
refused to give it back and was overheard saying, quote, "I'm going to make you kill me." So that's what Shelton did, shooting him once in the abdomen after hitting him with his 44. Also, unlike the song, Shelton wasn't executed. He was sentenced to 25 years, but was out on parole in 1909, dying of tuberculosis just 3 years later.
That sounds about right. 1895.
Yeah.
What?
This whole thing's just it's a weird one to include on this list.
It's a folk song.
It is, yeah.
It literally is a folk
Yeah.
song. But if you take a 44 slug to your abdomen in 1895,
Yeah.
you have a really, really hard time. You're not going to survive that. Yeah, that's. So they were just arguing, and he was like, "You took my hat."
Yeah.
You know, this doesn't. It doesn't mesh.
Yeah.
It seems like it definitely seems like an 1895 story.
Yeah, right.
Because then he's like, then he died of tuberculosis. I'm like, okay, yeah, 1909.
Yeah, I mean it's not any less shitty that, you know, someone died and whatnot, but like if I'm putting these on a scale, this one's a little lower than the rest.
Yeah, if you were ranking them
Yeah.
like horrific to just like a shootout over a Stetson hat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it might be one.
Fuck that hat.
Yeah,
Damn it.
I agree.
Let's see what the next one has to offer here. So many workplaces have rules against coworkers getting romantically involved, but according to Vice, that's exactly where the story of Roger Cooper and Samina Imam, I don't know, started.
Perfect.
The former was a Costco manager and the latter a regional head for Costco, which forbids romantic involvement when they started seeing each other. The relationship had been going on for about 2 years when Cooper finally promised that he was going to leave his long-term girlfriend for her. And at the same time, he was making promises that after Christmas, things were going to be different.
He was writing checks his ass couldn't cash.
Yes. The prosecution at the following murder trial would say he was also consulting with his brother on how best to kill her. So testimony would allege that the first attempt on her life came on December 12th, 2014. When that didn't go as planned, it was moved to Christmas Eve. That was when they left work separately, met up, and headed off on a holiday. But first, they had to make a quick stop to see Cooper's brother. Dun, dun, dun. So that was the last time anyone heard from Imam, who was quickly reported missing by her family. Her car was found on January 4th. It didn't take long for police to track her movement via her phone. Her body was discovered where she had been buried in a Leicester allotment. And the Cooper brothers were arrested on January 7th. According to BBC, the brutal premeditation demonstrated at the trial led to a guilty verdict and a minimum sentence of 30 years for both brothers.
When was this?
This was, where'd it go? 2014.
2014. Okay.
Yep.
So who was? I thought he was romantically involved with Iman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's written in a weird way.
Yeah,
Because
but
it makes you think he's gonna
kill his girlfriend
but
of 2 years.
yeah.
But he kills his mistress.
Yep. I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
Like, I'm super confused on like the motive behind this.
Yeah, there's no
Like, if he wants to be romantically involved with like his Costco manager, or corporate manager, whatever she was,
right.
then why kill her?
Yeah.
Why?
He's like, we can't have a relationship at work.
Damn it!
Damn it,
We're
Costco.
done.
One of us definitely can't quit.
I would sue
Someone's got to die.
I would see. Yes, yeah. No, yeah. Somebody has to die. I would definitely blame Costco in this event. If they would just let them be romantically involved for 2 years, how does nobody find out?
Well, I'm sure people knew. But I don't know.
I'm confused.
I think it just comes down to there's too many people fucking.
People are fucking making more people.
And this is what happens.
If you haven't listened to my show, I'm a real hard advocate for the world population.
Oh man. Yeah,
Oh man. Oh, sorry, but this next one, I know these people.
You know them?
I know them.
No.
I swear.
Damn it. Well, here we go.
Yep, Pennsylvania.
Oh shit.
Yep. Right
I
up the
didn't
road.
read. I didn't read all these ahead of time.
It
All
doesn't. It doesn't say where in this one, but this is the one I was looking up earlier when we were talking
Well,
about
how
it.
about that?
Yep.
Life finds a way.
Podcasts find a way.
So Christmas Eve 2002, murder of Jean Huliver and her daughters, 20-year-old Victoria and 15-year-old Elizabeth, started with an arrest. According to the McShane firm, Jean's husband, Ernest Huliver, who had been arrested on charges of sexually assaulting his daughters, released on $100,000 bail amid his defense attorney's promise that he wasn't a flight risk. He was also ordered to stay away from the family. But
What? Yeah.
I promise.
Yeah,
he's
I'm not gonna. He's not
a
gonna
risk.
do it. He's not gonna do it.
If you can believe anyone, you can believe this guy.
Yeah, yeah. If you see the picture of this guy, I don't know who's believing this guy, but he looks like a criminal.
Huh.
So he's got that going for him.
He's got a certain look to him.
Yeah.
His brother Scott would later testify he had driven Ernest to the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania home where his wife and daughters were living and stayed in the car while Ernest went into the house. Jean, Elizabeth, and Victoria were discovered in the home on Christmas Day, each killed by a single gunshot to the head.
Mob style.
Also in the home was Victoria's unharmed 9-month-old baby. Well, at least the baby survives.
Yeah.
That's it's always a little more grim when there's a baby death involved. The prosecution testified that Ernest Huliver, who had been afraid that his daughters were going to testify against him in the trial, resulting from their accusation he had been sexually assaulting them for years, Brother Scott was found guilty of third-degree murder, sentenced to 12.5 to 25 years in prison, while Ernest was found guilty of murder and handed the death penalty. His execution has been repeatedly delayed. In 2012, Penn Live reported he was asking to have the rape charges dismissed, and in 2021, documents were still being filed with the courts. So he killed his whole family, and he's worried about the fucking
Rape charges. Yeah, that's aggravated factors against his mitigating factors to pretty much set when and why, or when he's gonna die, right? So I have a connection to this case.
Okay.
And I worked with his cousin.
Okay.
I think that's what, sorry, my wife filled me in on this case when we were talking. Let me see what she said again, so I don't, speaking out of. Now, it was definitely her cousin. I worked with his, Hulivers.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with, their cousin, like first cousin.
Okay.
Yeah, like, it's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild case to just be like, oh, you're good out on bond. You're not a flight risk. And then he just goes, like, that is the whole reason that dude looks like a murderer. I'm sorry, but if you're going to look like a murderer, you better.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
I would not. If I saw it on the street, I would cross the road.
walk the
on
other side.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was the case I was looking up earlier, but yeah. He just goes and I think he knew that he was fucked.
Right.
Like he was going to end up in prison for the rape charges and the abuse charges. So
Yeah.
it was another I'm going, you're going thing.
Right.
But they went, and now all he does is sit and rot in prison on taxpayer money.
Yes. Yep. So yeah, he did that so that he wouldn't go to prison. Now he's in prison. So good job, I guess.
Yeah, like who else are they going to suspect that like
Yeah.
the person that's filing the rape charges dies? Like who would it couldn't have been the guy that did it.
Definitely not him.
Yeah. God.
He wasn't a risk. He wasn't a flight risk. $100,000 bail.
Made
and they're like, just stay away from your family.
Yeah.
He was like, done.
Yeah, I'm good. Don't worry about me.
Yeah. I wouldn't do anything. Fucking shit. Damn it. Yeah, half this shit just like pisses me off.
Yeah, it's just stupidity of
Right.
his bail shouldn't have been $100,000. It should have been like $2 million. He never should have set foot outside before the case. Before the court case. I don't know.
Right? Ugh,
I don't agree.
disgusting. I hate that like this is the third one now of like a dude killing his whole family, and it's because he was fucking diddling his kids.
Yeah, man.
Like,
Chomos, they're out there.
hate it.
They're everywhere. Can't get away from them.
No.
I swear.
Fucking terrible.
They're everywhere. It seems like it. It seems like every day there's like another gymnastics coach or, you know what I mean? It's always something, you know? Yeah. Got to protect your kids.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yeah. And now after reading all these, I'm like extra protective. Like, it's Christmas time, kids. Time to lock the doors. And...
yeah. That creepy Santa Claus is sitting there. Somebody drop you on your head? My head? Drop you on somebody else's head?
It was on Christmas Eve 2013 that Randy Adelet walked into Sharon Adelet's Florida home and found her where she lay. The Pensacola News Journal reported that she had been killed by multiple blows from a baseball bat and multiple stab wounds from a kitchen knife. What if they had the knife attached to the bat?
That'd be wicked.
Right?
How many stabs? Like,
I don't know.
How many stabs do you think you could do before you had to switch hands?
With a baseball bat.
Yeah, you're swinging a baseball bat too.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, about 28, 29. On December 28th, the judge set a $1 million bond for their son, William Brandon. The high school senior had almost immediately been arrested for the murder, according to further reporting from the PNJ. It wasn't until an October 2016 trial that a psychiatrist explained to the courtroom that he had diagnosed Brandon as having schizophrenia. The doctor said further that he was prone to auditory hallucinations, including ones that told him that he needed to kill his mother, and said that, yes, releasing him into society was a very bad idea. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
At least someone's got, some fucking brains. Although he confessed to the killing with an explanation of how he'd been mad that his mother had insisted on enrolling him in a substance abuse program, another red flag, he was ultimately found not guilty by reason of insanity. Great.
Perfect.
Also worth mentioning just what that means. So attorneys and psychiatrists argued that he literally saw nothing wrong with what he was doing. And in Brandon's own words, he confessed that the killing felt, quote, like I did the right thing. Sentenced to the Florida State Hospital in Chattahoochee, Brandon continues to undergo treatment and regular evaluations.
Wait on yonder.
Yes.
In the Chattahoochee.
Yes.
You know what this reminds me of?
What's up?
Did you ever, what is it? What are their names? I just looked it up so I knew them. Lyle and Eric Menendez.
Oh, Menendez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they like goes out and like that basketball card where they're sitting.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's so wild.
Right.
But yeah, this kind of like gives me that vibe. Like,
yeah.
he was like, he's arrested for the murder, and like, I think I'm definitely in the camp of they're not trying to get away with anything. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
serial killers, like they're trying to get away with, like they want to keep murdering,
Right.
but like these crimes of somewhat of passion, like they're not trying to get away with it. That they know who did it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this dude was he's got some issues.
Yeah.
So yeah, not only is he schizophrenic, but he's on drugs. Probably a terrible combination there.
Yeah. He has issues, but my issues, we'll go into my issues real quick. No, my problem with this is like, yeah, he's a murderer and everything. And now he's just kind of like in a mental hospital. I don't think it's any better than prison. Probably better than prison, but he's just like in there, he killed somebody, and his, like, the justice for his mom is now him sitting in a mental hospital.
Right.
That doesn't seem like justice to me.
Yeah, I tend to agree on that.
But it's a hard line to toe, because and then you're like, well, you're not sensitive to like mental illness. Well, I am. I know what like mental illness is, but is he not in the right mind when he's murdering like his mom? I guess that's because that's a real hard thing to fight too. Like, to win the case of like insanity, that's a hard case to win.
Absolutely.
It's not like they can just go in. It's not like I could just go in and win that. You know what I mean?
Right. Especially, yeah, this is 2013, so it's definitely a lot more difficult nowadays.
Yeah, you'd have to have a history of like mental illness.
Right.
And like very well documented, like you got picked up in a straitjacket a couple times. Yeah. But I don't know. Am I wrong? Am I right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say one way or the other for like 100%, but like I'm a big advocate for like mental health and illness and things like that. But at the same time, like, where do we draw the line? Because if you're like, this dude has schizophrenia, has a mental condition, but he's also on drugs. So is it the schizophrenia that made him kill his mom, or was it the drugs?
Yeah.
And where do we draw that line? And regardless of what conditions or what you're going through, it doesn't make it right to kill somebody. I don't think there's really a illness or condition that kind of justifies you killing someone.
Yeah, but then that's wherein lies the guilty or the insanity plea comes in, and that's why it's so gray.
It really is. Yeah.
And I agree with you though. Like where do we draw that line?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm all for, taking that mental health serious.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
But where is the like, you have to be responsible for what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. We're not experts.
I'm not an expert in anything other than cryptid whispering.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, we knew that.
Yeah. So Tricia McCauley was a longtime Washington, D.C. resident, and her friend Kate Debelak, these people need better names, man, described her like this, quote, "She is one of the kindest and most gentle people that I know. So to think that someone could have harmed her is awful." It was her friends that first knew something was very wrong, and they reported her missing when she didn't show up to a Christmas party. After several days of searching, the BBC reports that her car was discovered where it had been parked on a D.C. street with her body inside. A canvass of the area and a confrontation at a CVS led to police seizing the keys to the car and some of her credit cards from a man named Dwayne Adrian Johnson, who later claimed that he had picked McCauley up, engaged in consensual sex, then alleged that she had decided to die by suicide. What?
That's a stretch of a story. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
So Johnson added that he had continued to drive around with her in the backseat because he thought she was asleep. So in November 2017, Washington Post reported that Johnson ultimately admitted to killing McCauley after randomly running into her on the street, then beating and sexually assaulting her. While his attorneys argued for leniency based on addiction and a history of mental illness, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Wow.
That's definitely a random act of violence, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't know her. Did he like literally run into her? Or is that like figuratively like ran into her on the street and he like kidnapped her, threw her in a car, sexually assaulted?
It's hard to say.
You know what I mean?
Like with these like quick little snippets of the cases, it's hard to say without like really kind of researching it. But
yeah.
But I mean, I took it as he didn't know her. He just ran into her. But I mean, he may have known her. It's hard to say.
But what a weird story though.
Yeah,
like
right?
him for to be like, yeah, we were, we engaged in consensual sex and then she decided to opt out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how weird is that story? And how did he think of that story to be like, yeah, we were just driving around and I thought she was sleeping, but that's so weird.
The whole thing
how do you
is
make
such a
how do you
fucking mess?
Fucking life is so weird. Like how do you make a story like that up?
Right.
I get it. I get the reason behind the story because he's trying to protect himself because he knew what happened, right? He knew that what really went down. But where the cops were like, yeah, that makes sense, and then just like left. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I'm gonna burn in hell.
Oh, so yeah, he's driving around. He killed. Oh, hi, Cat.
Hi, Cat.
So he, wow, fucking cat fucked me up now. So he, he killed her, and then he's driving around, and so he's trying to make up a story as he's driving, and he's like, so we met, we had sex, and then she's like, I think I want to kill myself.
Yeah, was it that bad?
Right. Yeah.
Was
right.
Like sex that bad that she's just like, no. We can't make that joke. How does he come up with this story?
Yeah, that's a wild one. And then to just be like, they'll buy that. Yeah, that sounds believable.
Yeah, it's like kids.
She wanted to kill herself, but I thought she was sleeping in the back seat.
You know, as like kids, you make up stories, right? And
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, your parents will definitely believe this. And you never think that your parents are way smarter than you are. That's how like
Right.
criminals and detectives work, right?
Right.
Because they're like making up stories. And some of them are pretty good, but some
That
of
one-
them are
that one,
horrible.
not so much.
Some of them are horrible. It's all good.
All right, let's
All
see.
right, what do we got
Wow,
next?
That was something.
Yeah, that was a handful.
That really was. Oh man, we got some more names. In
Uh,
2011, Zazel Preston had 2 daughters, 3 and 8 years old, and a newborn son. According to the Orange County Register, Preston and her husband, William Wallace, freedom, had just returned home from a Christmas party when they started to argue. Her oldest daughter testified that after Wallace pushed Preston through a glass table,
God damn.
she helped her mother remove the glass before Wallace picked her up and carried her into the bathroom and dropped her. The next time they say they saw their mother was when she was sitting on the sofa. Wallace ordered them to open their presents, saying, quote, "Mommy ruined Christmas. She got drunk and ruined Christmas."
Jeez.
Wow.
Bringing kids,
Yeah.
bringing the kids into the
Yeah, it's like
defense
a
of
whole,
yourself.
that's a whole new level of
Mm.
fucking scumbag. Prosecutors would go on to argue that her death came at the end of a history of domestic violence incidents, with Preston's family testifying to his history. In 2021, her older daughter testified about the Christmas morning. Quote, "I remember trying to touch my mom and she was just rock hard, cold, and I said, 'Mommy,' and she didn't respond."
Ugh,
Yeah, dude.
man,
Ugh.
goddamn.
While there were a variety of charges on the table, a jury opted to convict Wallace of second-degree murder. At his sentencing, Preston's mother appealed. Quote, "He beat and tortured my daughter and at the same time mentally assassinated her children. He showed her no mercy. Let's show him no mercy." He was given 15 years to life in prison.
So second degree, let's dissect that a little
Right.
bit. The second degree murder is, it's murder, but it's not, premeditated
Right.
in any way.
Yep.
It's almost like a manslaughter case, right? That's why he got 15 years. So it's 15 years to life. Now he's going to do 15 and that's when he's up for parole.
Yep.
Doesn't mean that he gets a chance to be out on parole.
Yeah.
But he could
Mhm.
walk at 15 years
Oh, yeah.
for violently assaulting and murdering a woman in front of
And then,
her
yeah,
kids.
setting her up.
Yeah, see,
Christmas
that's
morning,
where
like-
that's where another like
God damn.
other factors have to come into.
Right.
You know why drag her downstairs and sit her in the
Yeah,
on the
that's like
couch
a
and-
like there's been a lot of fucked up stories we've gone over so far, but this one might be one of the most fucked up.
yeah,
Like,
'Cause
like
he-
I
now
get
he's-
it, maybe he didn't plan to kill her per se. But
but
he
he's
did.
kind of a douchebag. Like
Oh,
he's
100%.
he's a domestic violence.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
he's beating his wife and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, in front of the kids probably.
But
and-
to get like a second degree, like I said, maybe he didn't plan it, but it happened, and then he fucking propped her up like a fucking
Yeah.
Christmas tree.
Yeah, that's why it wouldn't
Like-
be like manslaughter. Because
Oh.
if he had like done that and then like called the cops and be like, then he probably would have got a manslaughter charge.
Right.
Right. It was in the heat of moment. We were arguing. I pushed her. She fell,
Yeah.
and the glass table killed her. But that's if you call the cops right away.
Right.
So, word of advice, people out there,
Yeah.
call the cops right away.
Accidents happen,
Yeah. But
but also don't beat your wife. 'Cause
yeah, don't
that's
do
fucking
that.
stupid.
But yeah, that's the second degree charge out of it. There was no premeditation to it.
Mhm.
Even though there was, because he's a douche.
Right.
And but it could have been, but he took her upstairs, and then when they found her, she'd already like 10 hours.
Oh, yeah.
went by. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, this
Fuck
poor
that guy.
kids. That sucks. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
15 years. I wonder if he's out.
I
What
hope
year
not.
was that?
2011.
Oh no, he's not out.
Not yet.
Not yet. Couple more years.
Yep.
At least on parole.
Yeah.
he could
right.
do 25.
Hopefully
probably
he
will.
does all
I think he will.
years. Another fucking name. On December 26, 2014, CBS News reported on a brutal murder that had taken place on Christmas Eve. According to authorities, they had received a phone call from Dustin Lee Klopp, who first took his 2 children to his parents for a Christmas celebration, then called to report a body at their Lancaster, PA home. Damn it. Law enforcement quickly found the body of Klopp's wife, Stephanie Kilhefner.
Klefner. Yeah.
Kilhefner. The information from the DA was scarce, but he did say that he'd never before heard of a situation where they'd gotten a confession via phone call before even being aware that anything had happened. Retracing the series of events, law enforcement said that it became apparent Klopp and Kilhefner had argued. Klopp had hit her and then grabbed a knife to cut her throat before hitting her multiple times with an axe.
God damn.
Yeah, right?
I wonder how many times I've said that, like under my breath. Like,
There's no other reaction.
I was like, I continually go back to that. Okay. Sorry.
All good. March 2015, Klopp was being held in the Lancaster County Prison when he attempted to die by suicide. Lancaster Online reported that he was later declared brain dead and removed from life support.
Too bad he wasn't hit multiple times with an axe.
Yeah, right?
Or a knife.
29 of them.
Now, that's even more, man. Like swinging an axe 29
yeah.
Yeah, man, that would definitely wear you out.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you'd have to be in some better shape to swing an axe 29 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a piece of shit.
Yeah, right?
There's not really much to say about this one.
No.
The guy's, he's like, oh, I can't have I only had 15 Miller Lights tonight. You said we had to go. And then, like, he's like, punches her in the face. And then she says something, and that triggers him. That's how I seen it go down.
Right.
You know, so she says something. She's like, well, you're a fucking piece of shit. You know, my mom knew you. My mom said you're a piece of shit. And then he get like, he triggers, and he goes off the deep end. And hopefully this is listened by a lot of people, and they're like, yeah, he was a piece of shit.
Yes.
You know, yeah, it'll work out.
Yes. Always agree that they're a piece of shit. If they do shit like this.
There's no reason for this.
No, not
there's
at
no
all.
reason for that poor girl that was, to die by axe.
No, right? Try to slice her throat and then axe. Just get an apartment. Move out.
Just get some pizza.
Get some pizza.
Oh, man.
Fucking,
You can drink all the Miller Lights you want.
Yeah. You want to hit shit with an axe? Destroy your own shit.
You go
fucking kill
split
your
some
wife.
firewood. There's people cold all the time. Split some firewood.
Yeah, do something productive.
This is a good one. I've heard of this one before, too.
When it comes to these murders, the events of the 2007 crime itself weren't argued at the trial. There was less of a question of guilt and more of a question of exactly what to do with the two people convicted of the horrendous Christmas Eve.
Thanks, Fox News.
Christmas Eve murders that took place in Carnation, Washington. According to what was presented at the trial, Michelle Anderson and her boyfriend, Joseph McEnroe, pled guilty to the 8-hour series of events that left 6 of her family dead. The first victims were her parents, Wayne and Judy, who were killed inside their home before being dragged outside. Then Anderson and McEnroe waited for the arrival of her brother.
Oh,
Scott.
it's the same story.
Same thing. You got to show up at the same time. Scott and his wife Erica and their children, 3-year-old Nathan and 5-year-old Olivia. Erica survived long enough to call 911. When it came to present a motive, prosecutors said that it was jealousy. They presented Anderson as unhappy and jealous of her brother's family and felt that she had been cheated out of money. McEnroe testified, quote, she treated me like an attack dog, a guard dog, and recounted the scene, quote, it's smoky. It smelled of blood and death. McEnroe and Anderson were both sentenced to 6 life terms without parole.
Okay, what are we learning on this episode, right? Strength in numbers.
Yes.
Don't talk to your family.
Yeah, don't talk to your family.
Isn't it like 90% of murders are done by family members anyway?
Usually, yeah.
It's something
family
like that. I think
like someone close to you, yeah.
Yeah. And just because they're family doesn't mean that you have to like hang out with them.
No.
The thing where like they were cheated out of money and, whatever.
Jealous of your brother's family.
Yeah, who?
Shut up.
Who the fuck cares?
Right?
You know what I mean? Like I say all the time, like, I don't want money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Like I don't want money. I don't want an inheritance.
Right.
I don't want any of that. I don't want property. Just why get jealous about stuff like that?
Yeah,
or
it
like,
doesn't matter.
oh my brother's a doctor and I work at Wawa.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
There's got to be people that work at Wawa.
Yeah. Yeah, like, well, it's always like they're jealous. Like, then fucking change it. Do something. Like,
yeah,
better yourself.
Go to correspondence school. Be
Yeah.
a certified demonologist.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
You can make all
See?
kinds of money. Open a museum, lie to people, take their money. That stuff.
You could be in the movies.
You be on the big screen, kid.
That's
the big
right.
screen.
I've had it with these fucking names.
Yeah.
They just get worse.
I'm not even going to
They get
attempt to
worse.
that one. There's 17 letters in that
Yes.
name.
Half the alphabet is right there.
And it's the good ones too. There's a V and a Z. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's one vowel. It's an A that shows up 45 times.
Yeah, don't just say V. The V family.
It was around 11:30 a.m. on Christmas Day, 2011. The police from Grapevine Police Department in Texas.
Do you think they hear their stuff from the grapevine?
Oh, it's been said.
Sorry. Sorry. I don't know why I keep interrupting your
It's
story.
all
Go ahead.
right.
So, go ahead.
That's
You're
what,
fine.
yeah, that's what we're here for.
All right.
It's fine. So they were alerted to a 911 call. The caller simply whispered, "Help me," before the call was terminated. And when law enforcement investigated, they found a grisly scene had unfolded had unfolded as a family opened their Christmas gifts. So 7 bodies were discovered at the Grapevine Apartments, according to ABC News. Reports alleged that Aziz, in that Y word,
Oh, yeah. Y.
It's,
It's
yeah.
a Y, not a V. Sorry.
Yazdan Pan Yazdan Pan had
Oh, it's definitely Indian.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that individual had shown up at the apartment dressed as Santa Claus. Then he reportedly opened fire, killing his wife, Nazrin, whom he was separated from, his son and daughter, his sister-in-law and brother-in-law, and his niece. He then died by suicide. So law enforcement called it, quote, the worst homicide we've ever had. And as they interviewed friends and family of the deceased, a picture began to emerge. Those who knew them suggested the relationship started going downhill after that person got out of the mortgage business and the resulting financial difficulties, coupled with the success of his wife's beauty salon, put overwhelming pressure on him. Still, Sergeant Roberts' explanation, quote, we really don't have a clear idea why he did this. Sometimes there's not really a good explanation for irrational behavior. So he sucked at his job. His wife was doing great at her job. And,
Sweet, stay at home. Stay at home dad.
Right.
It's a thing.
But they were separated.
Oh, sorry.
So I don't just find another job.
Yeah. What?
Do better yourself.
Why get an apartment?
Yes,
No, it's
yes.
just like, why take the whole family out? Like that doesn't sound.
And then fucking off yourself.
yeah.
Like,
why
skip the whole hurting other people. Like, I'm not condoning offing yourself, but like if you're a person like this and you're gonna do that, just at least skip out on hurting other people.
Yeah.
Like, holy fuck.
Or go talk to somebody.
Yeah, even better to go do that. But
Yeah, talk to somebody. They'll talk back to you. I mean, they're gonna charge you like $80 an hour.
and
But
I'm like, I don't have a job. But yeah,
Yeah,
fucking
man.
figure it out. Like, fuck. People. Fucking people,
you're
man.
gonna get so much shit for like, figure it out. Man up. Yeah. I mean, in a way, but sometimes like
No, I know.
I don't get it. I don't get the hurting other people for your personal gain.
That's what irritates me.
Yeah, that definitely irritates the shit out of me because, like I said, like you said though, if you are gonna opt out,
Yeah.
and that's your final like thing, then you're gonna do
Right.
why mass murder?
Right. Like, especially like your wife you're separated from, like, but like your kids, like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Holy shit,
I know.
man. Like,
That's the problem with all these true crime. You're always like, you always try to figure out why, and there's no why. There's no answer.
people are shitty.
People are fucking no, they are.
They
But
are.
That's
I mean,
something
that's
else.
100% fact. People are fucking
Yeah, right now as we speak.
right now.
Mhm.
Yep.
Not me and Ian, but people elsewhere outside of the
Mind your business.
studio. My pants are still off.
In 2008, Brian Hennessy was a 23-year-old local living in Ireland's Windgap, a town in Kilkenny. According to the Irish Independent, he later admitted that it was early Christmas morning when he broke into the home of a woman he didn't know, raped her, then strangled her. Wow. Before fleeing the scene, he set fire to her home, knowing her 2 daughters, a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old, were asleep in their beds. That's fucked up. In 2021, Whalen's brother, John, recalled the devastation and grief that was still fresh years later, especially knowing that as locals rushed into the burning home to try to save Sharon and her daughters, the man who had set the fire in the first place mingled with the crowd of onlookers.
God damn it.
Right? The following year...
Psychopath shit.
Yeah, 100%. The following year, the Irish Examiner reported that John Whalen was going to be back before the parole board again, asking that they not release the man who confessed to killing his sister and nieces. In the years since their murders, he has been a consistent voice in a campaign for a change to Ireland's laws, which at the time of their murder allowed convicted murderers to apply for parole after just 7 years.
Phew.
That was later raised to 12, but the legislation that victims' families are hoping to see passed would allow judges to give a life sentence.
Man, I guess apparently if you're, holy shit, if you want to kill somebody, go to Ireland? 7 years?
Yeah, I didn't know there's not life sentences there.
That's wild.
That is fucked.
Oh, man. Still.
Yeah, another one.
It's
Just roll into somebody's, I mean, whether he knew or not, but according to this, he didn't know, or just a fucking stranger. Roll in, fucking do all that shit, set the house on fire, and know their kids are in bed.
Yeah, that doesn't, the not knowing her doesn't seem like,
Yeah.
It doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right.
None of this seems
And
right.
now I'm definitely going to feel stupid about this, but the next case on this is the case I was talking about at the beginning with the show.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't the first case that we talked about.
Okay.
It was this one. I'm pretty sure it was this one because they own like a general store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, let's find out.
We'll find out.
So it was 1945 and Christmas Eve in Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Smithsonian say that even though what really happened that night is unknown, the general consensus is that it wasn't an accident. So mother Jenny Sauter had been awakened by a noise on the roof at some point in the middle of the night. It was not Santa Claus. Hearing nothing else, she returned to bed, only to wake up around half an hour later. That says George Bragg, author of West Virginia Unsolved Murders, is when she realized the house was on fire and scrambled to alert her family. Neighbors, meanwhile, tried to rouse the fire department, but it's also not exactly clear why it took them 7 hours to respond.
No, I was right.
Okay.
Sorry, I was right about the first thing.
Okay.
This is, we did a whole episode on this case. The one thing with the fire department responding 7 hours later, it was Christmas Eve.
Okay. Yeah.
And small town, like all the firefighters and all that, it was volunteer. It's not like they were all drinking in bed early. Right. I mean, it wasn't like, because when was this? It was the early 1900s.
45.
1945.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there was telephone.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's small town, like, and then they woke up and they're like, so there's so many mysterious circumstances with this entire case. But yeah, they woke up and they were like, oh, so they went out there. You can continue with it because there's a lot to this case. It's one of the bigger ones to talk about, like in the Christmas. We have to be getting towards the
big one.
Towards the front of it, because I know this is one of the bigger ones in the cases.
Well, let's see. So neighbors, meanwhile, tried to rouse. Oh, yeah, fire department. Also, not exactly clear why it took 7 hours to respond, in spite of being only about 2.5 miles away. But yeah, that makes sense. It was all volunteers, Christmas Eve. But yeah, it gets even stranger. 5 Sauter children didn't make it out of the house that night. 14-year-old Maurice and his siblings, 12-year-old Martha, 9-year-old Louis, 8-year-old Jenny, and 5-year-old Betty. When the burned remains of the house were examined, the only traces of human remains that were found were a few pieces of bone and remains of some internal organs. Investigation wasn't finished when Father George Sauter bulldozed the site and planted flowers for his children. I do remember this story now that...
Yeah.
Yep. Although whether they were dead or missing remained unclear. But there were plenty of suspicious occurrences. The man who tried to sell them fire insurance and didn't appreciate them declining to buy. Strange people who had been seen watching the house and the children, and even stranger phone calls, telephone wires that had been cut.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't
So
know
what
if
happened to the solder? What happened to the solder
It
children?
might have been your episode that I remember this from.
It might have been. I mean, I don't remember when we did it, but
Right.
I know. 10 kids. The business prospered. One of the most respected middle class families around.
Right.
He had strong opinions on. This is another one. He had strong opinions on many subjects and was not shy to express them. Sometimes alienating people.
Okay.
He opposed the Italian dictator Benito Mussolini and had led to some strong arguments with other members of the immigrant community because they were immigrants from they were Italian.
Right.
So yeah, there's so many what do you see here? Yeah, he owned a visiting insurance salesman. That is one of them, obviously. Yeah, there's so many. There's so many factors to this thing. Why some of them are there's no bones. There was no evidence of them dying. Like they're missing.
Yeah.
I have this
Holy
entire
shit,
Google
yeah.
Doc about this because we did a whole full on episode of where are they and why nobody. Yeah, death certificates for the 5 children issued on the 30th, which alongside the absence of evidence of the missing children, other things also pushed the Sodders into thinking that the children might still be alive. There was some other things, pictures, postcards, man, there's so much to this
Yeah,
to like try to go over it quickly, but there's, and then he bulldozes the entire house. I don't know, out of grief or out of mysterious circumstances.
So, yeah, it's a little suspicious.
Yeah.
Especially like mid-investigation. Just fucking whoop.
Yeah, it was like within a day or 2 or 2 days or 3 days or whatever.
It's a little fucked up.
Yeah, are they missing? Were they dead?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things don't add up there.
Yeah, but I was right about the first one. Not this one.
There we go.
Yeah, sorry. Correction.
All good.
Correction made.
Correction made. So, the death of 15-year-old Willie Howard came just after Christmas of 1944. And for those who killed him, the fact that the black teen had given a Christmas card to a white coworker was justification enough. Wow, that is fucked. In the card in question, Howard signed it simply with L, or love. He then wrote a follow-up letter apologizing for his forwardness, hoping that someday black and white people would be equal, and continuing, quote, "I love your name, I love your voice, for a SH, sweetheart, you are my choice." Aw.
Yeah, to free think. You know what I
right?
mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, God damn it.
Right? Like,
Yeah, he's like, oh, then, someday that we can all be,
we can all be equal. We can all be human beings.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
imagine
Like,
that.
Fuck.
Oh, God.
So the card was given to a girl named Cynthia Goff, and according to the Equal Justice Initiative, it was her father and 2 of his friends who first kidnapped Howard from his home and then took his father from work. The 2 were driven to the Suwannee River, where Willie was held at gunpoint and told he had a choice: jump or be shot. According to the affidavit his mother later gave, her husband returned home and told her that their son wouldn't be returning, ever. The teenager's body was recovered the following day and immediately buried without a funeral, and his parents left town shortly after. According to the Baltimore Sun, no one was ever held accountable and no one was ever arrested, much less put on trial and convicted. Wow.
Where was this again?
This was, let's see, Christmas 94 or 44. I
doesn't-
don't
yeah,
know that
doesn't-
it's. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't give us a. Said the Baltimore Sun, but
Yeah.
man,
Huh.
people suck.
Yeah, right. People suck.
I mean, that's the nicest way to say that
Yeah, it
too,
really
because
is,
these
yeah.
people are pieces of shit.
Yep. Yeah.
I hate I hate stories like that, and it sucks that our country's filled with them.
Yep.
But yuck. I no hate crimes.
No.
Get over it.
No. Yeah, there's plenty of reasons not to like people. You don't need to like make up shit like they look different. They have different color skin.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no. Like
Don't like people
stop
because
it.
of their actions.
Yeah, right?
Like they cut you off in traffic. Don't like them.
Yeah.
Then run them down with your motorcycle and random act of violence.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But yeah. If a person's shitty, they're shitty. If you don't like them, you don't like them. But to
yeah,
be
God
like,
forbid they send a
just to
love
be-
letter to your daughter.
yeah, right? Like, holy
Yeah.
fuck. This is why we don't do true crime episodes.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Because it pisses me off. We keep it with the movies, but, whatever. Here we go. According to the BBC, Carl Langdell already had a record when he met 23-year-old history teacher Katie Locke. The two started chatting on the dating site Plenty of Fish.
Plenty of
I
Fish.
remember that shit. POF.
I actually have a friend that met his wife on Plenty of Fish. And
Oh,
they're,
POF.
they're married, 2 kids.
Look at that.
Yeah.
POF.
I think that's what it was. It wasn't farmers only. I know that.
Christian Mingle.
You don't have to be lonely. FarmersOnly.com. Okay.
Whee! So yeah, he had been talking to as many as 20 women at the
God
time.
Damn.
Ooh. This was in spite of the fact that he had marks on his record for threatening a girlfriend in 2009, assaulting his brother in 2014, and threatening to kill his girlfriend's sister in 2015.
I think you should have to carry a card around with that on it. And then
Yeah,
when you
right.
meet people, you have to give that card to them.
Yeah.
Just like child molesters.
Just like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you've got like some like weird domestic violence shit going on,
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
that's shit I would like to know if you move into my neighborhood,
Yeah, you should definitely tell people.
right?
Yeah.
So let's see. So placed under supervision of a mental health profession that same year, it was later revealed that he had told one of his nurses that he fantasized about killing a woman, stripping her, and sexually assaulting her corpse.
Mm.
Yeah,
Another thing to put on your card.
Yes. Yeah, please put
But everybody should have a card.
when you move in the
with your
neighborhood.
flaws.
Yeah, you move in the neighborhood and you go around to meet your neighbors. I expect you to give me all that information.
Yeah, like I'm just going to go out there and be like, I drink heavily on Friday nights.
Yeah.
I may turn up to Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
And I may dance without a shirt on.
Yeah. But I
this
don't
is
have any bodies in the basement.
yeah, yeah.
I have never hit my wife.
Yeah.
I don't fantasize about killing anyone.
Yeah, this is just stuff you need to know in case you see me outside dancing
Yeah.
to Give Me 3 Steps. And you just kind of mind your own business.
That-
or
that-
come over.
mind your business,
It's
yeah.
fine. Yeah,
Or come over and take your
Yeah,
shirt off.
Exactly. It's fine with me too.
So on Christmas Eve of 2015, Locke met up with the man she thought was the owner of a law firm for a first date that ended with her strangulation, murder, and post-mortem assault.
Here's my business card. I own strangulation, murder, and assault insurance company.
Yeah, right.
Ugh.
BBC reported the entire system was widely condemned for their failure to share information between organizations overseeing Langdell's case, which included 2 mental health trusts overseen by the NHS, probation services, and several police forces. The lack of information sharing was blamed for his release on a suspected sentence and ultimately Locke's murder. Langdell was found guilty, sentenced to 26 years in prison, but died in 2021 while still being held at Wakefield Prison.
Good riddance.
Yep, get fucked.
That's all I got to say about that one.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, we need a better system for red flags in this country.
Well, this is UK. It's from BBC.
Oh,
So they've got some shit going on
they,
too.
yeah, they gotta do something better.
So no one ever knows when that moment is going to happen. The moment when everything changes. For the children of Ed and Minnie Morin, the moment was Christmas Eve of 1985, when the bodies of the elderly Washington couple were found in a wooded area not far from their home. They've been reported missing on December 19th, when the 81 and 83-year-olds weren't home when their family gathered for a Christmas party. On the 20th, their car was discovered covered with blood. Although they were suspects, the main people of interest moved away to Alaska not long afterward. It wasn't until July of 2012 that Rick Riff was arrested by Alaska authorities in connection with the killings.
Whew.
His
85 to what? 2012.
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
His brother John was also a person of interest and died the week before Rick was arrested. According to ABC News, law enforcement said that the couple was kidnapped, driven to their bank, forced to withdraw $8,500, then shot at point-blank range before being dumped in the woods, where they were later where they were later discovered. Lewis County Siren reported that Rife, then 55 years old, was found guilty in 2013, and the Martin's children, now also in their 80s, were present to see justice done after decades.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What a cold case.
Yeah.
Like, who was the guy working that case? Like, for all that, like, somebody had to retire in that time period.
Yeah.
Somebody had to pick up the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Shit. That's wild. To find them, like, I guess they maybe they kind of knew or had like some inkling of who it was, right?
Right.
And they were like, we got to find him. And then they finally found him, but it only took, what? 25, 27 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
That's crazy. And I guess they went to the bank, not like.
Yeah, the bank.
They couldn't have went to an ATM. You can't get $8,500 bucks.
$8,500 out.
So they had to go to the bank.
And then like the dude that did it was 55 years old at the time. They're 80, 81, 83, and he kills him for $8,500.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't they go into did they go through the drive-through at the bank? You know what I mean? Like, if you were forced to go into the bank and like,
right.
I would just take my chances and be like, scream or hit the alarm or this guy's robbing the bank or, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, that's fucked.
It is.
What's this last snippet say? The Morin's son, Dennis, later explained it was the fulfillment of a promise he made years ago. Quote, at their funeral, I laid my hand on their casket and I said, I will find out who did this. Dun, dun, dun.
That's like a backstory to a superhero.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, it's definitely the backstory to a superhero.
Yeah.
Except that guy's probably like 80 some years old now, right?
Yeah.
80s when, yeah.
Well, shit.
Well,
all right, we got two more.
Two more.
We're at 2
the
hours.
Atkins
2 hours
diet.
in. 2 to go.
The
Let's go.
Atkins diet. The guy that invented the Atkins diet died of a heart attack. For sure. 100%.
It's no secret that 2020 was a terrible year. And for one family in Atkins, Arkansas. Woo! It ended with the most unimaginable tragedy. 5 people were found dead in what ABC News originally reported as a homicide that had taken place over Christmas Eve. Details were initially scarce, and it wasn't until later that they identified the dead as a 7-year-old Danielle Collins, 10-year-old Lavena Countryman, 12-year-old Abigail Heflin, and adults Patricia Patrick, wow, that's a name, and Wakita Chase. At the time of the identification came a stunning revelation. One of the dead was also believed to be the perpetrator, Chase, who was alleged to have killed the other adult, her mother, and her 3 children in a murder-suicide. The Northwest Arkansas Democrat Gazette reported that the home the family members were discovered in had been locked and sealed from the inside and that no one had been seen entering or leaving the property since December 23rd. Chase's brother, Justin, broke down the front door to gain entry, and according to what her ex-husband told CBS News, there was no motive immediately apparent. Quote, all I can think about it, I hope Jesus was there holding them girls, said Benjamin Chase. Huh. Well, yeah.
That was a lot of like, okay, let me try to decipher this. So it was Chase was the murderer?
That's what they're saying.
And killed 7-year-old, 10-year-old.
Yeah, so Wakita Chase.
12-year-old and adults. No. See?
No, there were 2 adults.
Yeah.
Patricia Patrick and Wakita Chase.
They died, right?
Well, they're saying Wakita Chase was the one that killed everyone.
Oh, okay.
So one of the 2 adults is the one that did it all.
What? Man, I'm going to say it one more time. Like why?
Right?
What? I guess we're going to be stuck at that. Like, why?
Yeah, that's the thing
What
with
was
this shit. Like,
it just seemed like a whole bunch of people hanging out, and then like to be like so unimaginable, locked in, sealed inside the house with like where you kill.
Right. And again, the kids.
Leave the kids out of it, man. Wu-Tang.
Right.
Wu-Tang's for the children.
For the children. Like,
leave the kids out of it. You know what I mean?
Like, no one should be hurting anyone, but like if you got adult shit to deal with, like handle your shit. But the kids have no part in it. Like there's no reason to do that.
They didn't do anything wrong.
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, they didn't do anything wrong. Why? Even if they were witnesses, what does it? You're gonna. They killed them, but she probably opted out, right? Because they were all dead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the whole murder suicide. Yeah.
Yeah. So why?
Yet again. Yep.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Yet again on the same. Ah, man. This is probably why I run a conspiracy podcast and not a true crime podcast.
Right? That's what I mean. Like it is interesting and it's fun to dabble in this, but yeah, I couldn't imagine talking about this shit every week.
I think if you would were in it, taking all these cases and dissecting them down to the minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different type of getting into it. And I always want more information. Why?
Yeah.
Like in those cases, you'll never know why.
Mm-mm.
There's no motive. There's no note. There's no.
Yeah.
I did it because scorned lover or money or whatever.
Right. I was jealous of your fancy house.
Jealous of your.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, fucking people. So here we go. Here's the headliner. Now that we're 2 hours in, the headliner. Of course, in the hours between December 25th and 26th, 1996, John Benet Ramsey, a 6-year-old child beauty pageant winner, went missing from her own home in Boulder, Colorado. The next morning, her parents found a ransom note demanding $118,000 for her return. The Ramseys called the police, who found no evidence of forced entry. While searching the house for clues as to how someone kidnapped John Benet, John Ramsey made a terrible discovery. His daughter had been murdered and her body was abandoned in the basement. So John Benet was found to have died by strangulation and had a skull fracture. Police initially suspected John and Patricia Ramsey of killing their own child and staging the ransom note to cover up the crime. However, after a very public investigation of the two, they didn't find enough evidence to prove this theory and cleared the Ramseys as suspects. Then they focused on another possibility: an intruder who snuck into the house during the night, intending to kidnap John Benet, but accidentally killing her instead, at which point the intruder fled. This approach, too, has proven to be vexing, and the investigation has since stalled. To this day, the case has never been solved. Right?
You want to hear my theory?
Yeah, go for it.
My theory, which I think a lot of people may agree with my theory on this, is her older brother. I feel that her older brother is the culprit. He killed her. Now the parents don't find any innocence in this because either John Ramsey covered it up, right?
Yeah.
That's my thought on it. He found his son had hit her over the head or whatever and killed her.
Mm-hmm.
And then he tried to cover it up. But then in the morning, whenever the wife woke up and said, "Where's John Benet?" They freaked out.
Right.
He played the role. And then they're looking, right? And he just happens to go downstairs because this house is fucking huge.
Yeah.
Right. So then they end up going downstairs into this crawl space, or not crawl space, but into this basement to check windows for forced entry. And was the window open? Maybe that might give the intruder idea came into play.
Right.
And then they find her, I think he had the guilt on his mind and he knew where she was. So when they were looking, then he makes this discovery that she's down there.
Right.
Right. That's all if you believe in the fact that she was actually murdered and not actually Katy Perry.
That's true. That's what I was thinking the whole time. Because maybe she's a firework.
Yeah. I think that she's alive and she's just Katy Perry. Timeline works. They'd be the same age.
It's true. It's true.
And they look an awful lot alike.
Well.
I think, the note, the ransom note was, because they could never pin the ransom note to his handwriting. He wrote it he wrote it or the son wrote it.
Right.
And it never, and it's
such a weird amount too. 118,000.
Yeah. So that's maybe what they had in the bank. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I still think it was an inside job, not an inside job like a hit or anything, but I think her brother was super jealous of her because she was like beauty pageant,
Yeah, I think it was
stuff, and
it was big beauty pageant.
big beauty pageant.
Yeah.
was like our sponsor.
That's maybe where we should start looking.
Big mattress.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I think that's how it went down. Now there's been other things. There's another guy that's like involved where he was like in the area and he was known like child molester thing, and they have him like in the same area, and he even like admitted to it like later on in life that he was it, but like they couldn't technically like make him like say that he was the
Right.
So that kind of got thrown out under the rug or whatever, but he ends up dying at some point. I forget when it was, but I'm a firm believer that it was her brother, and
Yeah, I think
the dad was the cover.
right. I think logically that probably makes the most sense. Cause yeah, I mean, as a parent, yeah, if your son kills your daughter, I mean, as shitty and sad as it is, like your daughter's already gone. So if you kind of turn your son in, then you're losing both your kids.
Yeah, because he's going away to some mental hospital, or
Right.
because he murdered his sister.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see the kind of like panic in the moment, like what's done is done type deal. At least we'll try to, at least we'll have one kid, but I mean, it's still, it's a shitty situation no matter what, but
Yeah, and that's why I think he came clean, like by finding her.
right.
He's like, we can't just let her be missing forever.
Right.
He wasn't going to go bury his own daughter in his backyard.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
wrap her up in like plastic and take her to the dump.
Right.
So she had to have been found.
Yep.
Right. He wasn't going to let that go.
Right.
But to play the intruder, somebody broke in,
Yeah.
wanted money.
But there's no evidence of anyone breaking in type deal.
That's the basement window theory though. Like
Yeah.
it was open, but they thought it was open, and they like took fibers from it and all kinds of shit. And was it really open? Did he open it? You know what I mean?
Right.
And they were like, then they realized they couldn't get her out of the. That's the theory, is like they couldn't get her out of the window.
Yeah.
Which I don't get that either, but maybe I didn't read deep enough into it. But yeah, that's what I think though. Like obviously he couldn't just like dispose of her body.
Right.
She had to be found.
Yeah.
She had to have a burial in like this, great big
Oh my
gaudy
God. Yeah.
tombstone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. It's weird that like it was such, like, I still remember it now. Like it was such a giant thing. And the fact that it's still unsolved is like, there has to be some sort of conspiracy or some sort of
cover up
inside deal that
yeah. Oh
because
yeah, that's
with
not
how
like,
big and how like
yeah,
how gone over everything was. Like there's no way that if it was just a straight up someone tried to come in, kidnap her and killed her and stashed her body there, like that they wouldn't have found something.
Yeah.
Or found someone.
Somebody, yeah. Yeah, it definitely seems like there's some fuck shit going on with that.
Oh, yeah.
There has to be. And maybe he paid some people off, and DNA, there was all kinds of people in and out of that place too. So DNA really was gone.
Mhm.
There were so many people in and out. Yeah, man. I remember it happening too. It was just like everything. It was just like OJ and Heaven's Gate and all that stuff in like the 90s. Like it's huge.
Right.
And this was one of them. This was it. This was this was one of the murders of the 90s that went unsolved. And, this
it's
is
wild.
Tupac and Biggie and,
Right.
all of them.
Oh yeah. But yeah, we could literally have a whole episode about it, but
Yeah, there's so much stuff. There's so many suspects. There's so many suspects, and like them putting them there in what is it, Denver? Boulder. Just putting them in Boulder somewhere, truck drivers and like pedophiles and
right.
people on lists, and it goes on and on and on, and about, it narrows it down to 4 people, and which of those 4 could do it and had means and motive. So
I don't know. I'm with you though. If I had to choose, I'm going brother.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that.
I think logically it makes the most sense.
Didn't her mother die here a couple months ago?
I believe
thought so.
Yeah.
I thought it was. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's another case. I don't know.
You might be right. You might be wrong.
I'm most likely wrong.
I don't know. But yeah, I guess that was
Happy holidays.
That was a lot, yeah.
Don't show up in staggered times
Yes.
to your family's house.
So pop quiz, everyone. What did we learn today?
What did we learn today?
Show up in groups. Come armed.
Come armed. Yes.
If
show up armed.
Yes, show up armed. If you're feeling like you want to kill somebody or hurt somebody, or you're in a shitty situation where you live, just move out, get an apartment, get pizza.
Yeah, I think
it'll solve the problems.
I think that's the major takeaway.
Yeah.
Just walk away from it.
Just walk away.
Yeah.
Just walk away.
Just walk away. It's fucking Mad Max.
Yes.
Walk away.
Yes. Just walk away.
Everything will be better. If you just walk away. See?
But yeah, there's this is like a shitty subject for Christmas, but at the same point, you know, like I said, we have a lot of Christmas horror movies, which I'm sure a lot took inspiration from things like this. But there's not a whole lot of like based on a true story, and there's surprisingly there's not really an actual movie about John Benet Ramsey. Like there's documentaries, and I think there was like one maybe Lifetime type deal.
Yeah,
but not like any other giant event.
Yeah,
like there's fucking Hollywood movies like within a year or two. Like there's never been anything. So that's odd.
Yeah, that whole case is.
Yeah, the whole thing is.
Yeah, there's something, and we'll never know.
Never know.
You know, it'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at this point,
I'm sorry, it wouldn't be cool, but I would like to
know.
I'd like to know.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a chance in the afterlife where you can spend eternity like going back and watching things, I'd love to. Like that would be my biggest thing.
Right.
Like Roswell.
Yeah.
Or John Benet. You know, just
OJ.
Yeah, different things that are like.
Right. Just to like peek into the little window of time.
Yeah, and
just like an outside perspective.
Were we right?
Yeah,
and you're like, man, we fucked that up. We got it all wrong.
Yeah.
You know, it was all wrong.
It was a Sasquatch that did it all.
Yeah, Puff Daddy did kill Tupac. There was a big thing about that this week, or it was last week. He went to Twitter or something about allegations. So they arrested that guy in the Tupac murder.
Okay, yeah.
And there was like he was just like saying that P. Diddy paid him so much money and to kill Tupac, and it was a whole thing. Ooh. It was a whole thing.
Oh my!
Welcome to my life. Yeah. I look into that shit and read articles.
Yeah,
like that,
so it's all fascinating.
It is,
and it's crazy what money will do to you. It's crazy what small minimal things to us people take very seriously and will make them do ridiculous things to other people.
Yeah, people suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge takeaway of a lot of this is, you know, and I want to say this at the end, like if you have these, like, you know, if you have these feelings, you can, there's places you can text. You don't even have to call.
Oh yeah.
I wish we had like the numbers to like, but there's places I mean, everybody has access to a phone. If you have one of those like things that's going on with, you know, there's all kinds of numbers and help out there that it's free.
Yeah.
It's not even like it's going to charge you anything. You can text somebody and you don't have to call. You don't have to email. You don't have to set up an appointment. They'll text you back. So, I mean, yeah, if you're homicidal or suicidal or the holidays are always like the hardest time of the year for some people, you know, not everybody has that American Christmas, you know,
true.
Shit's hard for some people.
Yeah.
So I just put that out there. You know,
absolutely,
we tried to keep it light and have fun with, you know, just give you guys a little laugh and, you know, not in the, you know, expense of any victims, but just to let you know the stories of Christmas. Because we had the same conversation when we did our episode. Like, yeah, we're just trying to be light and have a good time. And
we're not laughing at the crimes. We're not making fun of the crimes.
I'm laughing,
but
I'm laughing at the people that commit the crimes because they're dumbass pieces of shit. Fuck, other than that, you know.
But yeah, if you're feeling like you want to hurt yourself, hurt someone else, do anything that's not so cool, yeah, definitely reach out. There's all different numbers you can call, text, whatnot. I'll see if I can look up a few here, throw them in the notes.
I think the suicide one is real easy too. It's like 611 or 811. No, 811's the one you dig for digging holes.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, it might be 611.
No, don't call
Digging
that
holes.
number. Don't be burying anybody. I think it's 611.
Yeah,
I think it
It
is.
is. Yeah.
So,
But yeah, it was heavy content tonight, but yeah, it was, like I said, it was a fun little tiptoe into true crime that we are good on for a while now.
I rarely do it on the show.
Yeah.
Just because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people get turned off about that.
Yeah.
Especially if you do it consecutively.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Unless you're a true crime podcast. I have no desire to go feet first all the way into that. So
I like a good mystery, like the Solder Kids.
Yeah.
That's what I like. That one. I like the mystery, like in Villisca, Villisca axe murder. Like there were so many suspects, and like they never found out. They thought it was like some hobo, like just jumping trains. Like axe, because they spotted all these like axe murders. I'm like, how many axe murders are going on out there? But
there's too damn many.
Yeah, I like a good mystery.
Yeah,
not so much a
definitely,
true crime, but I like a mystery.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, don't worry, we'll be back next week with some holiday horror movies. And then, like I said, the week after that, the last week of 2023 will be our best of 2023 horror movies. So Jay, thank you again for joining me.
Yeah, if you guys want to hear more of me and a little bit of Ian, he's on the show a fair amount.
Yeah.
You can check us out. You can go over to projectskeptic.com. There's a website. Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you get regular podcasts, Spotify, Apple. And we're on there, Project Skeptic. We try to upload as much as we can, but this time of the year it's tough.
Yeah,
it's been with me starting my new job. It's been a tough couple months with the show. I mean, we've been getting 2 episodes a month maybe out. So, but yeah, go over there, check us out, find us somewhere, listen to some conspiracy stuff. I'm going to start my whispering of the cryptids.
The cryptid whisper.
You can find me in the woods, stalking, lurking.
Yeah. If you see him lurking around, mind your business.
If I look blurry, just let me go.
Yeah. He might not be wearing clothes and covered in hair.
Yeah.
But that's his business and not yours. But thanks again, brother. I appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you.
Coming over and talking all this fucking gory nonsense with me. But yeah, thank you all for listening and watching. I'll have all the show notes, all the show notes. I'll have all the links for our social media, for Project Skeptic social media, everywhere and anywhere you can find us. You can look in the show notes. I'll also include some of those hotline phone numbers. Again, it's heavy content. We don't take it lightly, but we just deal with it in a funner way. So again, if you're experiencing any feelings that are not so great, please reach out to someone. Do not try stabbing your significant other 29 times or setting a house on fire with children in it. It's just a bad move, and we don't condone it. And also, if you don't like people, don't like people. But
yeah, there's another thing.
If you don't like people because they look different from you or the color of their skin, you're a fucking asshole, and we don't like you.
Exactly.
But again, this is Blood, Gore, and Ghouls. Follow us on the social medias. Links are in the show notes. Until next week, I'm your host, Ian Van Gogh.
I'm Jay, Project Skeptic. Jay, ooh, bad.
Have a ghoulish week. Stay safe out there.